Welcome back, everybody. This is NECC Esports, and today we've got ourselves a wonderful matchup. My name is Infernosis, and I'm joined here by my co-caster, Kaaroh. How are you doing today, Kaaroh?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely amazing, Inferno. How are you doing today? I have to ask because we did not really have much of a talk before this. I got to know how you've been doing today, sir.
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. It's great to be here. We have ourselves, a matchup between Central Methodist University's 2 team and the Buena Vista side, and I can't be more excited. You want to go into a little bit of depth about the maps we're going to be seeing today?
We're actually going to be starting off the first map with Consulate. A very it consists of a lot of windows, and there's going to be hopefully a lot of spawn peeking going on. Hopefully they do play it correctly with that little 3-second timer in the beginning, but it's going to be followed up with Clubhouse later on. Clubhouse, one of my favorite maps. It's very strat heavy. You need to worry about majority of the sites have to do with that hard breach, and you got to be able to play that correctly to actually be able to take those sites efficiently. And I would like to see how both these teams actually play through those maps.
I mean, personally, I'm excited. Consulate, like you had spoken a little bit about, window repelling simulator. You're going to see, these players take the outside window. We could even see a Blackbeard ban come into fruition. I know that's one that can be pretty annoying to deal with, especially on that 3rd floor objective, but not many teams actually have been picking that one because of that pick. But let's go into a little bit more depth now before we head into this one. Let's take a prediction real fast about who you think the bans will be on Consulate.
Oh, bans on Consulate. Well, a very effective operator. It has to be Nomad. Nomad is one of the most effective picks on any map. At that, there's a strat when it comes to repelling. It's a repelling simulator, like you have mentioned in the past. The Nomads would be placed on many of the windows out near like the front entrance of the building, and if you can take care of those Nomad charges, then those roamers will be able to actually take care of business a lot more efficiently and actually get those runouts, which even with the runout timer can still be done pretty efficiently with those Nomads taken off. I'd expect either a hard breach, just something hard breach related, because it's either a Thatcher. You have to expect either Thatcher, Habana, Ace, Maverick. Any of them are pretty viable. Besides that, Thermite, I would not expect a Thermite ban out of all of them because they all are pretty unique in their own way. So,
I think you can definitely agree about this part as we get sent into the match. I think all the players here are ready. We can be brought right into it. But I definitely think there's a little bit of a meta involved for how you attack, about how we attack each map, or how you situate yourselves when you try to play onto the type of map, especially like Consulate. And speaking of metas, let's talk about one of our sponsors for today, and that in fact is Meta Pro Gaming, which is a full-service esport management, developmental, and consulting company. Meta provides esports coaching, college esport management, arena design, and equipment. Visit them at metaprogaming.gg to learn more. Thank you very much, Meta, for the sponsorship, and I believe we are ready to get sent back into the game. This is Buena Vista University versus the Central Methodist University 2 team, and I'm definitely expecting a very good matchup between these sides. And like you said, I think Nomad is a pretty smart ban for this. Whether that's going to come through, I'm not too sure. I'm expecting a Kaid on the defensive side for operator ban. For the attack, maybe even a Jackal or a Buck. You can remove those from opposition and kind of make it a little bit harder for them to take control of that 1st floor above the garage objective.
Yeah, I mentioned the Nomad in the past, and those are 2 bans that are really, really viable that you did mention. And a Monty pick out of all of them is an interesting one. I have not seen a lot of play recently come out from the Monty with any of these teams in the past that I have been casting in the past week or so. Maybe they did some VOD reviews on this team and realized that they have a strong Monty, and here comes the Thatcher ban that I did mention in the past. I'm still very confused by that Montang. I guess they don't like to deal with them.
I have and now we're seeing it's just back and forth. You see Buena Vista, they're taking Montaigne out. Now you're seeing Central Methodist, they're taking out the Clash Shield tit for tat kind of situation, and they want absolutely none of that. A face blockage coming from them. I'm not sure why or when or who decided this was an idea, but main ban still coming through. But one ban that's not coming through is the Mira ban, because you took away Clash and banned the Valkyrie instead. there is no Mira. Like, Mira can be played by your side, and that's going to be a huge detriment for the attacking side, especially on that garage objective, when you can place that Mira far back inside of the opposite objective and not the one actually situated in garage, which we are actually heading down to the garage and cafeteria site. You're more than likely going to see a Mira wall situated on that cafeteria hard wall.
Yeah, I wanna mention the current operator picks and the bans. I want to bring up the Clash pick. I don't know, like I said, it's probably just a VOD review, but the fact that they took away both full body shields, I just find absolutely hysterical. And then the two other bans, which are understandable, being the Valkyrie and it was the Thatcher. Valkyrie's intel is obviously very effective, and you got to deal with that as soon as you can when it comes to the attacking side. And just completely banning it is definitely dealing with it in your own way. The current picks right now, like you mentioned before, one of their bans should be a Blackbeard, and they did decide to bring a Blackbeard this round. And as well as a Finka. Swolverine, the pick with the Finka, not a lot of people are a big fan of Finka because of what her gadget really does to her teammates' recoil. With that recoil change, then it can actually mess up a lot of people's play. But since they are on a team, I guarantee that they have been playing with that Finka a lot, and they have prepared for the recoil change. So I'm glad to see that pick, and I really want to see how they play out the rest of this round with that pick in hand.
I can't agree more. Finka, a bit of a niche choice, a bit of a niche selection from them, but speaking of niche, let's take a look at the Buena Vista defensive side. You're seeing the mirror that I touched on, before, and you're also seeing a lot of roam potential of players that can be roam potential for their side. Archangel's opting onto the Bandit, and Amtro is opting onto the Legion. So you're seeing a lot of people that can take that roam. You also see Nepo. He's rocking the Vigil, which is a roamer. Everyone knows and loves that Vigil roam. To deny that information from the attacking side, that's a lot of people that don't need to situate themselves on site, and on a site where I think it's totally fine to situate yourself there. It's not one that you have to be too fearful about. And I think they're able to do that in this situation. We see a fight in this situation. Nice wall bang there, and Napo's going to take out Silver Fox as the first frag. But I think you definitely can rely on stepping away as a defender because you have the mirror that was left unbanned.
Yeah, that mirror can waste a lot of time for the attacking side for sure. And with that extra time, the ability to roam for this team is immense. That quick pick on Silver Fox was actually pretty nice, and I did notice that the Finka revive was almost pulled off, because the Ashe was almost up on her feet and ready to gun down Vigil once again, but he did wallbanger to take her down before she could do anything else. Yeah, they already got the wall open so far with 1:25 remaining. There's still roamers upstairs, and they still have that control inside the building, as the attackers barely have any control at all. They barely even stepped foot in the building besides the Ashe, and she even got taken down almost instantly. So with this little intel that I've really seen go through, as Mira does pick up the Jackal, the person that does take care of those roamers very efficiently, I don't really see much hope for the attacking side to actually finish off this round. I'm pretty sure just right now I'm going to make a bold prediction that the defenders are already going to win this round just off of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, just taking a look right here at Redco's positioning, hanging out inside of this. Like I said, this hard wall of cafeteria to watch out that garage door. It's going to be a hard-fought victory, and we do see Nepo taking this with a very nice kill up above with a K1A in hand, and it's just going to make it that much more difficult for the CMU side to make their progression inward. One steps through, but it gets denied by Retro in the last one, trying to make it, and it's the K1A from above to damage but not finish off Corwin. And he's on site with the Blackbeard shield in hand, trying to maybe get one, but can't do it. It's Meliodas with the shotgun for Buena Vista to take the round one victory very nicely with a flawless victory.
Gosh, I mean, I'm a big person when it comes to first impressions, and they definitely allowed them to they really showed, hey, we're here to play, and they start off with a flawless round, showing you guys need to be able to, you guys got to start picking it up now before we get as many rounds as we can on you before you actually do start picking it up. This map is not really my favorite to attack, so I can't really blame them for not doing the best on their first attack round. But I do hope to see them pick up as the rounds continue and progress. The picks seem to be very, very similar from the first round. I don't think there's a single difference when it comes to the attacking side. When it comes to the defending side, I don't think there's much either besides the difference in the mirror. The mirror wasn't really a huge decider last round because they didn't even get into the building whatsoever. So the mirror didn't really do too much. She did manage to off, but either way, I feel like if the mirror was there or not, I don't think there was really going to be that much of a difference in the outcome of that round.
I mean, obviously, you've now made the decision. You switched over. Meliodas, who was previously on the smoke and had initially picked the smoke and gets 6 picked off over to the pulse. You know, when you're taking this objective here, which is a multi-level objective, which is quite difficult to hold on to, which is, by the way, my favorite objective when it comes to this map, because of the level of difficulty implied behind it, you definitely need to build strategies around it. And most teams you'll see rock a ton of nitro cells, and they'll hold in and bunker down in that basement objective and choose, I should say, to throw the nitro cells from below to try to wipe out the competition when necessary. But only seeing 2 of those for the defensive side from Buena Vista. So they're spicing it up. They actually are putting Nepo up top on the 2nd floor between the hatch, you know, inside of administration office, trying to catch a player off guard. He could be in a dangerous position for himself if they come in through that doorway to try and, you know, maybe get a frag very early on. And we are seeing a bit of aggression towards this east side to push in through that doorway. So Wolverine's already hanging out there. And Silver Fox is also repelling to try and find an opportunity for an early frag. And we could see them go up to that window inside of the administration office to catch Nepo off guard above that hatch.
Yeah, just by looking at the defender's secondary gadgets, I can say that I'm expecting very aggressive play because they haven't really pulled off any shields at all. The only actual thing that actually would help defend the site would be the barbed wire, and that is even played on Jaeger, which you expect Jaeger to be roaming out a lot. Every single defender that they have picked so far can be a roamer besides the mute shotgun on site, even though it's a very effective weapon. Just by sitting in a corner, you can hold off and completely clear the enemy team like it's nothing. So just by that little judgment call and just what I'm seeing, a lot of aggression, a lot of peeking, a lot of damage going towards the Finca right now, as you just saw, and there's a lot of damage going between both teams right now. Most of the damage is leaning towards the defending side. With only 1:30 left, I don't think there's been anyone touching inside the building yet, as well as pretty much just repeating exactly what happened last round. So I really hope they do start picking it up because this is going to be a walk in the park for the defender side.
Yeah, I mean, you do see that kind of like last 90-second sort of meta from a lot of attacking sides, and they do take the advantage here, the lead here in terms of numbers. They have Retro jumping out to the you know, nice rifle in the hands of King Crimson. The AK does its work when necessary, and Swolverine, who has already been in the engagement with the Vigil up above, gets taken out by Nepo, the Vigil up above. And now it is tied back to a 4v4, but Nepo is trying to fight 2 players on the 2nd floor, finds another Pepperoni. But he's going to get down quickly after tying it up again to a 3 versus 3. Corwin finding that kill. Blackbeard finding some success for himself here in round 2, what we were not necessarily able to find for the CMU side in round 1, as they had 0 kills. Now they've got an infinitely larger number of kills in this round. A 3rd is picked up. King Crimson finds 1. And now you have to see how they're going to push in. They seem to want to put a focus now towards that server rack objective, even though all of the defenders, or should I say most of the defenders, are actually down there and holding out when necessary. You do have a Legion impact left, and you do have the Nitro Cell in the hands of Archangel, but you don't have the Pulse wall hacks to try and find out where you can get it done. We do see King Crimson planting the diffuser down inside of the upstairs objective, trying to catch them off guard. Archangel with the Nitro Cell throw. Will it connect? No, it does not. Only person it actually connects with is himself in this situation, dropping him now down about 15 HP. We're going to see Amjo trying to find his way upstairs to hit a frag onto an opposing player, but no, goes the other way. That is Silver Fox up above, and Corwin in the same area getting Archangel out as well. CMU take round 2 quite successfully, but not a flawless victory like we saw from Buena Vista.
All right, critique time here. I don't really like both plays coming from either side. When it came to the defending side, a lot of peeking did occur, but the amount of fragging that was in the favor of the defending side was not there at all. And then there was the hold downstairs. The mute should have been ready with the Nitro Cell. Although, yes, the pulse was gone, he should have been ready to take care with the vertical Nitro Cell. That is why the ace got the diffuser down so quickly, and no one was really on site because they were all too busy roaming. like I mentioned, they were playing very aggressive, and they probably wouldn't be holding on site just based off of their gadgets, and they did get picked off very, very quickly. And then when it came to the attacking side, I don't think please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see much droning when it came to mid-round. Pre-round, there was definitely some droning because you're required to drone, but mid-round, I don't think I saw much of anything. And there was a lot of just face gun, like they were peeking with their character, and that is them risking losing that person and losing quite possibly the hard breach too, because I'm pretty sure the hard breach did entry frag right there. I'm not entirely sure because I believe he was in the building first, and he had the diffuser near the end of the round as well. So there's a lot of interesting plays that still went in their favor because they did outgun them, but should not have went in their favor like in the long run. They should not have won that round.
Yeah, I definitely think that there was less droning than there could have been, and when you take a look at the drone economy for the CMU side, they did have some drones still in pocket. Midway point with a minute left, you did see Silver Fox had all their drones remaining, and Swolverine had all their drones remaining. Now, you did see Swolverine get dropped down and get killed first, so that dies with 2 information utility that's available for you that you could have had beforehand. And if you're going in with those drones and you're going in trying to find the opposition with information, and you're not able to do that successfully or hold on successfully with your drones, then play a little bit more safe. I know you're waiting that last few seconds, but there's no excuse from Silver Fox or Swolverine as to why they weren't using the drones the entire time. And there's no excuse from the rest of the side about why their drones were gone by the 2-minute mark. You have to maintain a drone economy to maintain that high level of information that you desperately need at this level of play. And I think if there's one thing you can say positive about Buena Vista for that hold, despite them losing it out in the end, they got the drones when necessary, and they targeted those drones quite successfully from the attacking standpoint.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely seeing a little bit more droning here, but they decided to send the ace in instead of any other operator. And along with the diffuser, I'm still questioning these plays, and I really personally hope that the ace does not survive to the end of the round, because he should not be this far into sight without any sort of consequence whatsoever. The defending side I don't think they've been made aware of it at all, but they are joining each other, and as Vigil gets taken down very quickly by Silver Fox, getting revenge from the beginning of the round in the exact same location in the exact same gunfight, as Mozzie may or may not pick up this frag and try to get a little bit of a trade-off. There's some damage going off, and then Finka sadly is the one to be traded, as Malusi does get the return as well. It's very fast. It has picked up quite a bit, and then there's the Ash, and it's completely made it even again. And then more aggression coming from the Mozzie. There's no slowing down for this operator right now. There's still more damage going out. Nothing is connecting, but he is not quitting. He needs to fall back and run back down to site. And he needs to waste as much time as possible and just let them have that control, because there's already a plant going down, and he's already on site. They need to figure something out before anything else. And, yeah, these picks will be game-changing, but the diffuser is now planted, and now they are now the attacker side now.
Did we just watch Pepperoni come swinging out inside of that room with the secondary Ita in hand, trying to kill that? I can't believe what I'm seeing, but we do see Meliodas finding another, finding more punishment, a triple kill, and Antro's going to come through and clean up the last, and all of that because Pepperoni pulls the shotgun out instead of taking a reload or just trying to get a kill with that. I don't know why, but Buena Vista is going to win that off of Meliodas' 3K in that round. If he had just been removed from the situation earlier with a more successful either shot with a shotgun or just a more successful weapon, then your entire team's attack, your entire team's assault that you were pushing up entirely up to that stage would not have been dismembered so handily by the Roni in hand. And it's just a big misplay individually. And, small mistakes can surmount up to the big mistake, which is ultimately losing that round, which we definitely did see. If there's any consolation for, the CMU side, it's that there's more rounds behind you. That was only round 3. You still have more opposition, and defense is typically the larger sided map, and you're starting off on the attack. You've only got 1 round under your belt. You've got something going for yourself, and there's plenty more where it came from, as you do still have 5 more rounds you can go through before you switch over.
Yeah, I mentioned Yeah, I mentioned before that the attacking side did need to speed up, but that is not what I meant. I didn't think that Jack would whip out the shotgun to try to take care of the Mozzie that was actually still in projector. He definitely should have slowed that down. I mean, he lost his life later on because he didn't decide to take that reload and played a little bit more slow. And then the Ace decided to single-handedly hold sight with the diffuser. This is a very it's a very, like, I'm getting vibes of like a ranked match right now because of how like thrown around everything is. Nothing is as consistent as I would like to see from this type of level. The mirror, though, they did bring up the mirror this time, and the mirror, I guess they are on the same site, so I guess they would be running the same strats. So I do expect another quick win. Hopefully the defender, or the attackers rather, figure out a play to actually take this properly, unlike they did in the first round. And hopefully the Ace is not. Please do not entry frag again. I don't want to see it. But I wanted to ask you a question. You cannot be happy about, because you're a big person on going to the same exact site 2 times in a row, and that's exactly what they did, and they did lose 2 times in a row. So I wanted to pick your mind about that.
Well, I am of the opinion, like you had stated, that playing the same objective twice in a row isn't necessarily the right play. But, you know, if it works out, then it works out. But obviously it didn't work out. So you have to have a little bit of a decision about that. It worked out the second time around, but it worked out off the back of Methodist. You had to rely on that one player to get the 3K to give you the round and give you the win on that objective. You can't rely on that same player to play and get, I'll say it, that lucky in that situation for them to swing that aggressively and to escape with his life from an ITA secondary shotgun, failing to get the kill off. And if I'm CMU, there has to be a change in strategy. But if I'm Buena Vista, I will absolutely do everything not to play that same objective again. But the round currently being carried off the back of Nepo. He gets another kill, a second one for him. The roam potential from the BVU side, from the Buena Vista side, is astronomical. And like I always say as well, it's something with this round, this entire talking point's just my own things I love to say. Roaming will win you games. Roaming is the one type of play style that will absolutely carry you as an individual player. We saw it from Methodist, we're seeing it right now from Nepo, and we will continue to see it for the rest of this map on this extremely large map.
Yeah, Nepo was not too happy at the fact that they lost their mirror that early onto the round, but sadly was traded off later on by the Blackbeard. That is 2 players dead on both sides. The mirror got taken down very quickly, but then the Finka was taken down by Nepo almost instantaneously, and then followed up with taking down Silver Fox, who is the Ash for this round. There's a lot of droning, but there is also a lot of just straight up pushing as well. They haven't really gave that up yet. The Blackbeard does have a drone on him right now. If he was to just fall back and just gather a little bit more intel before he pushed in, this would be a little bit more in his favor, and he can actually push this a little bit more efficiently than they have in the previous rounds. He needs to figure out, he's getting a little bit more of an audio call from his left-hand side, and I don't know if he thinks that it's below the stairs or above the stairs, but he needs to, it is now. He's just standing there. Interesting rotate off of that little angle that he was holding right there. Hopefully he can actually get this pick onto, I believe, the SMG-11 that the smoke is holding. Interesting push onto site as well, and gets taken down almost instantly with 2v2 remaining.
I mean, King Crimson is going to start the diffuser placement. It's in a situation where he's going to get pushed. Pepperoni finds success with the C7E. Wasn't able to find success with the ITA secondary and finds the last as well. Amtro falling to the C7E in quick succession. Pepperoni coming through with 2 swift headshots, cleaning up where his team wasn't able to clean up before. And if I'm CMU and I'm the coach, or I'm watching this type of situation, and even in VOD review coming back and watching this type of matchup for where the enemy is positioning or where we were positioning, there was quite a few mistakes. You know the player is behind that mirror shield. You know they're back behind that black mirror. Why are you pushing in that aggressively? You know the mirror is dead. Mirror has been removed from the situation. You've killed that one off. That call out has been made, or at least should have been made. So the only person that can possibly be behind that is going to be the remaining players that are there, and you should be keeping track of who those are. At that point, it should be at least somewhat apparent that the smoke is there. You know the SMG-11's been firing back at you. You've had that engagement back and forth, which was not exactly the cleanest engagement, but it existed there, and you have that information available. Why are you pushing so close against an SMG-11 and against the shotgun that they're also wielding? Just a big misplay from that walk-in, like you would call it out. You know, stepping a little bit too close. You ultimately do win the round, but once again, you're having to rely on that one player at the end to get the kills necessary to go forward. And quite honestly, if Buena Vista played that well, it just came down to not being able to finish off what they started.
Yeah, when that Blackbeard walked down the staircase, there was two forms of intel right there. There was the mirror window, and there was also the camera. Like you mentioned before, the mirror was dead, but that does not mean that the utility is gone, and that cannot be used by any other operator. So you need to watch out for that. And there was, like I mentioned, two forms of utility, two forms of intel. There was the camera and the mirror window, and by pushing down there and taking the time to take care of that camera, it should have been take care of camera, move off the angle, figure out what to do from there. In that situation, it was he shot the camera, and then instead of pre-firing back at the window, he decided to fall back in a time-consuming way, and ultimately was the death of the Blackbeard there. And sadly, like you mentioned, had to rely on that last teammate and the ace to defuse. So he had to support the ace defusal plan, and he also had to support himself, and actually did successfully do it with the 2 kills that he did decide to pick up. Pepperoni, it was well played, because his awareness of where he needed to flick right after that kill was really well played by him.
Yeah, I definitely think there was a lot that was positive that you can talk about in that situation, but you know, ultimately, I've said it already multiple times. I hate to be the broken record. I don't like having to rely on one player to be that standoff player. I did cast the grand finals for a different tournament just yesterday, and it was one player that ultimately gave them the entire win for the league. And it's fun to watch. It's an entertaining aspect to watch, but imagine the frustration that player has to feel. It's not good for emotional concept or confidence at all. While you can feel you're definitely going positive, you don't like to have to feel that feeling of having to carry. It's not something that bodes well in a player's confidence and emotional state, especially if you end up ultimately losing. It's even worse. It feels a fruitless effort from that player who's had a standoff showing from themselves, and it ultimately will lead to frustration and possibly even players leaving orgs or teams because of it. But this is a university squads. These are university squads, and they obviously are here as basically like an extracurricular activity for them. It's something to do on top of, you know, attending university and getting your degrees going for yourselves. But a 4-4 right now. It's 2 frags dropped early on, and it's a main engagement. You do have the one player, I believe that's Pepperoni, hanging outside that staircase, and it is. He's got Amdro. And now it's a 4 versus 3. Corwin does fall to Nepo. Another frag going in that direction. The roam is being successful again. SMG-11 in hand as Meliodas finding King Crimson. And you're going to have to worry about now how CMU is going to take this one-man disadvantage and push in as, you know, in the way that they need to. Diffuser is dropped. You don't have it in hand, and you're kind of pushing into the floor above, which is not necessarily a bad strategy, but you don't have the diffuser in the last 30 seconds. You're running out of time to go pick it up. Are you playing the exit frag strategy? You just trying to get the kills? Well, Nepo's going to try and deny you of that. Pepperoni, however, gets the shot through the wall, finding it. And Nepo's going to fall a 2 versus 2. They have to play for the kills. They still don't have diffuser. It's going to be up to whether Silver Fox can pick it up, get inside garage, and get it down in time. They manage to get the diffuser with 8 seconds left. Will it be enough to flank from behind? Pepperoni trying to find. He does find one, finding himself the 3K. Will he find the last to go for the 4K to save his team? He will. Pepperoni getting the 4K here for CMU2. And they're going to rely, like I said, on that one player to carry them to victory.
Okay, I don't know if you noticed this, but Pepperoni was communicating with someone on their team. I'm not entirely sure who it was, but he was communicating with someone on their team, and he was animating his character to like as if he was talking to his teammate. He was looking at him and then like flicking towards the doorway and signaling him where he wants it to be instead of just pinging it himself. I'm not sure if he did that or not, but I did find that really funny to watch. I was gonna say that the downstairs basement hold has not been really successful at all for the attacking side. And like you mentioned before, they have been very lucky in how they've been pushing. And I know you hate to say that, but that is what has been happening, because the pushing methods that they have decided to take are not the optimal decision to make. But it's been 2 rounds on the basement side that they have lost, and they haven't really came close. Well, they actually, no, they were about to lose. I thought it clicked in my head that they did lose. The attacking side did lose the defending side, the basement hold just recently, the last round, but it clicked because there was very little amount of people up, and then Pepperoni just has to come out of nowhere, like you mentioned, just sweep everyone. So it clicked, but it didn't entirely click that he did come back and sweep up the remainder of that round because of just how clean. Like he gets to work, because there was a camera watching him, and he decided not to take care of it just because of the amount of time that was counting down. But Ace did manage to start get the plan off in time, and he did play slow enough to be able to allow Pepperoni to take care of those picks as soon as he could, and then he did get that plant down while everyone was had their attention directed towards elsewhere.
Yeah, when you talk about that last round, you definitely can't leave out Pepperoni finding the 4K. He has 8 to his name now. You also need to talk a little bit about the current round that's going to come through, this strategy that's being in place. It's Nepo, who switched off the Vigil and switched to Caviar, finding success in the first 25 seconds onto Swolverine. That's your Finka, who has had little to no success. And we had kind of spoke a little bit about the Finka boost. It's something that messes with the recoil pattern of your attacking roster and of your teammates, and can be a bit of a misplay operator, a hit-or-miss operator, I should say, of that recoil differential and the boost that is supposed to be positive but is in fact negative because it changes that pattern and changes that muscle memory. You no longer have that in play, and they're going 1-6. They do have the 2 assists. They do get to heal their teammates and give them that health boost, but it's not been enough to really show off, I should say. Of course, you've had to rely on Pepperoni to be that show off, and King Crimson's not exactly too far behind. The AK-12 in hand with a very nice sightline can make all the difference in the world. Look at the position of the defenders, however. They are already situated on first floor. You've got a mirror wall in bathroom, of all things, above that hatch. And with the IDA secondary in hand, you can bust that one out since they have left it unreinforced, and they can clear it very quickly. King Crimson, however, is going to start the diffuser placement, and there's going to go the Toxic Babes to deny. He gets cut off before he can make the escape. Meliodas, with the SMG-11 in hand, finds success onto that. Silver Fox and Koren find success immediately afterwards, taking 2. And it's back to the 3-3 scoreline. A hard retake position for Buena Vista. They get an opportunity. Nepo finds his second in a push unsuccessfully as he presses the shift key all the way to an impending death. Silver Fox and Pepperoni, 2 of the players you desperately would want in this type of situation, are the last ones standing. Meliodas is trying to fight it off on the site, running out of time, and it's just going uphill right now for Buena Vista. They find one, but they do have to worry about the opposing player, and you're not going to have the time, and that is Pepperoni officially denying any chance for them, and it's going to be CMU2, and he finds the last. It's going to be CMU2 finding success and winning it out and taking a lead as they head to the defensive side.
I just keep seeing the exact same mistakes come into play. There's been peaks where where someone would peak an angle and they would be sprinting in the process. Pepperoni would be sitting outside, like Ace pushed in very, very quickly, got the plant down, and it was like so soon into the round, and Pepperoni just had to sit outside and just wait for the timer to just count down, and they just allowed it. There was no support for the smoke when it came to defusing, and then the Legion had little to no HP to actually deal with the time to count down, and he even lost the gunfight when it came to Jackal's peak, his little head glitch when it came to peeking above the car. It was not played very well in really either side, because there's a very small amount of intel that's going between teams. It's hard to see, but it's working in their favor. It's working the attacking side's favor very well, but it's kind of hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Buena Vista, I mean, they came out swinging in round 1. We saw that flawless victory from them, and we anticipated a lot coming through that. Like you had said, when you have that standoffish first round, when you show us right at the beginning the success that they had shown us, you expect it to go in that direction for them. But no, it's been Pepperoni. I mean, obviously, he's not a pineapple on pizza kind of guy, you know, opting more for that meats kind of situation. He's definitely bringing that meat to here. He's the Arby's of this matchup. He's bringing the beef to the situation. He is brawling out in every engagement and winning every single engagement, and it's something that you love to see from their side, but it's going to be a little bit different. Pepperoni is now going to be opting for the mute on the defensive side. And I want to point this out as well. He's not bringing the shotgun SMG-11 combo. He's bringing the MP5. He's bringing that out full force. He's going to continue to be that aggressive swing and kill player for that side, and there is no shotgun in play for the defensive side. You may see a shotgun secondary occasionally, but I mean, that's probably in the hands of King Crimson, bringing the shorty in pocket, but nonetheless, no one to really clear out soft walls and make a large sight lines on that CMU defensive side.
Oh, you know how many times I've mentioned how I love the British shotgun, and he's not bringing the British shotgun. I'm very upset with Pepperoni's choice there, but he is top fragging above everyone else, so I can't really say much about it right now. But he better bring out that shotgun come the later rounds. The castle pick is pretty interesting. Well, it has been a side switch, hasn't it? Yeah, it is a side switch. So I'm curious to see how they bring out their plays here. Pepperoni. Probably going to be just as efficient as he was on attack, but on defense, because the roaming ability that you do have on this map is absolutely amazing because of how wide it is and all those little angles that you do have to check. Hopefully the intel is not as efficient on the attacking side as they were on defense.
I mean, it's something to keep an eye out for. You do see a pretty aggressive swing from the BVU side, from the Buena Vista side, to take advantage of the situation from up above, which is definitely what you need to see. And I want to point out this little strategy they're doing right there. They're placing that Kite Electro Claw on the bottom side of that Goyo Vulcan shield. It denies the opportunity for a Twitch to come through with a drone and clear out, or a nade to come through and clear out exceptionally well. And it's a cheeky little strategy that has its ups and downs. You do have to bring a Goyo, and while I love the Goyo decision because I love the vector in hand, some teams don't necessarily work well behind a Vulcan shield. They don't realize that you need ADSs next to the Vulcan shield to deny that extra range utility and step away in time to be able to shoot it yourself to deny that rush. Nepo denies the rush from Swolverine on the roam, the Wamai getting taken out. You did bring the pancakes from the Wamai, but you didn't bring the ADS of Jaeger, and that's where I think is a mistake here from the CMU defense, because you don't have those ADSs, which are arguably better, even though they have received that nerf. They're arguably better than the pancakes that Wamai was going to be bringing to your dinner or supper table, even though it is necessarily a breakfast food. Amateur's going to head down this white staircase, the exit stairs. He's going to try and find opposition successfully, but there's the Goyo shield being busted. The Vulcan shield is going to buy off enough time for the Buena Vista attack to kind of be slowed down. Napo is going to get traded in return after he finds one, and King Crimson and Corbin are going to go, but it's not going to matter. That's CMU holding out and stopping any chance for the diffuser to be placed down, and it's going to be another successful showing.
Yeah, there's a big change in the behavior from both teams when it came to how they play the attacking side. This one was a lot slower. It was a lot slower. The Buck did not waste any time when it came to opening up the vertical, but when it came to getting downstairs and getting that intel, they were nothing but really slow. Ooh, the gridlock pick, I like that. And they are going to be matching the Mira plays as well. They're going to be going Teller Archive this time. We did the defending side before the round switch. They did not bring the Mira on the Teller side, and I'm actually going to be really curious how they incorporate her into the site, as they do switch the gridlock into the Nomad. Probably the smarter decision in my opinion. And then I also do want to bring up the Warden pick. He can be a very efficient operator if you do play him correctly. If you hold an angle correctly, if you put your shield obviously in the right place. But they do have 4 nitro cells. I just realized that. They're probably going to, well, obviously on this site you got to mention the vertical play and the fact that it's such a small little compact space for Vigil to just, or not Vigil, Pulse to scan and just throw the nitro cell where he needs to throw the nitro cell. And with those 4 nitro cells in the hands of the defenders, they have a lot of opportunities to actually take care of that plant if they do have those numbers still alive near the end of the round.
Yeah, and take a look at now what we're seeing from CMU. We're seeing the Mira come through. That shotgun positioning could be very advantageous. You are seeing a Warden. And in fact, I'm just going to go ahead and call out our observer here. Our observer is, a player that gets to watch a ton of things that are going on. He's been messaging me and talking a little bit about what he's seeing, and he's liking this. He likes the idea. We had brought up, he had spoken about the Warden coming through. A single Warden pick would have decimated for the Buena Vista side. It would have been a phenomenal choice because it would have denied all of CMU's 2's attacking strats, relying on those smokes, relying on those throwable utilities to go through. And quite honestly, CMU2 bringing that in, I haven't seen as much from the BVU side, from the Buena Vista side in regards to that. Oh, no.
That's the second time.
Is that the second one?
That's the second one. Zofia did the other side, and then Thermite just did it again. Goodness. He's done. He just entered the building. He doesn't care about the intel.
Just go in. Just fight. Just duke it out, I guess. But
well,
yeah, we did see them take control of the 3rd floor, right? But no drone utility available for them, and like we had stated in the first half, you need that utility, that information the attacking side can gather with drones. And it's the only advantage the attack has over the defense besides better scopes, which shouldn't make as much of a difference at this level of play.
I wish this is how ranked worked. Like you screw up the drones, slide in, and then you have the entire control of the upstairs, and you have no issue taking it at all. Gosh. All right. Well, it seems to be going really well for the attacking side. I mean, I guess they still have a minute and 30 remaining, but they do need to start working downstairs because they have no contact with the site or any other players whatsoever. No damage has been traded off whatsoever. Hopefully, they gave them some time to actually set up those air jabs in the process. But there seems to be no rotating at all. They're all waiting downstairs for those nitro cells. There are currently 2 nitro cells placed right now. And I think they're just waiting. I think they're just trying to make them a little sense of false hope, saying, okay, they're off the site completely, but they are not been made aware of the diffuser going down, and they have screwed up their nitro cell play, and they need to start focusing on it as soon as they can.
Yeah, I mean, there's the opportunity for, you know, the defense to try and replay this back. They're 1 man down now as Retro is able to find success on a Silver Fox, and we do see drones coming out now. You know, you don't always see a drone in a post-plant scenario, but they are using that successfully. Retro finding a second up top, handing out on that staircase. You do see Swolverine finds Meliodas, but can't find another. Pepperoni falls to Retro. Retro's holding out fairly strong when necessary on this attack. Retro's holding very strong on the attack, finding 4 to his name, and it now is going to come down. Can he get the ace? Retro has the opportunity with a push out come from the defending siders. Swolverine just going to save the economy of the KD. No, Retro's going to find the ace, and we have a great showing. Buena Vista's success. They've won, I believe, 3 rounds now at this point, and 1 round was a flawless victory, and 1 round has been an ace. So Buena Vista is having to rely on either an individual player or all-around success for their side to get rounds under their belt.
I did physically pog there for a second because of how slow the attacking side goes through there. I physically pogged there for a second, but it wasn't really like it was like a mixture of a happy and surprised pog. That's what it was.
You know,
but, there was no contact with any of the operators whatsoever. There was 0 like contact with site. I mean, like, yes, there was utility setup and there was a little bit more intel going out, and they could focus down to they are either downstairs or on site, but based off of what they've been clearing. But but they swept them. They just quickly swept it, and they didn't really have any issues with it once they cleared the rest of the map. Like, they decided to actually play very aggressive after the fact that they got the diffuser down, but the pulse did not do his job correctly, and they did switch off the pulse. Well, they aren't playing that side anymore, but I hope they actually do bring it again, because I want to see him actually fix that play if they do decide to go Teller again.
Yeah, this is the one objective that I think is a lot of fun to watch, but is also extremely advantageous to bring out a Blackbeard. We've spoken about this at the beginning. When you don't ban the Blackbeard, it's going to be hard for this window simulator kind of gameplay on this outside western side wall. But we don't actually see that coming out from the attack. They're bringing in a kind of a clear situation. We will probably see a first to third kind of clear upwards. You can see that Buck taking Piano's side and kind of hitting the floor below that B-side objective to try and gather intel or space. Or we could see a focus, which we are actually indeed seeing, on this west side, trying to clear inside to work east to west from the 3rd floor there. But I would still be worried about the possible run out from the defensive side. Nepo's going to clear out in this main doorway inside of Visa and try to catch the opposing side or deny the possible roam game from being successful. And I definitely think you have to die. Another drone is going out, and sorry for the pause, but I think you definitely do have to deny that roam, because Pepperoni, the man playing Oryx, which is this is the only map you will see Oryx get played on by almost any side. Because of the ability to jump through hatches, he's going to be devastating. There's a reason why people pick up Oryx on this map over opposing, you know, roam potential players, over the Ella, which you do in fact see the over the Vigil, over all these roam legions even. I mean, you see him being played over the top because Oryx is so swift around getting out on the map and so swift to deny the opposition. And Pepperoni is definitely going to attempt to do that. 1 kill has already been found, however. That's King Crimson, their Jaeger, who is not necessarily an influential pick you necessarily have to get, but the weapon in hand does make him a strong pick to take out very early on.
Yeah, like you mentioned, this map is perfect for Oryx, but it also adds in the fact that he is really efficient with, just like in general, he is really efficient on majority of the maps, but this one is definitely the #1 pick for that. The issues of actually choosing him, Pepperoni actually does manage to pick up a kill, then is traded instantly. So sadly, we do not get to see even more play from him. But I do want to mention that he does bring a lot of utility because he can open and rotate with his face. I mean, he does have a shotgun pistol, but I guess he prefers the shotgun or the face over the shotgun. But he's also very loud as well because his walking, I believe, is actually around the same volume as a 3 armor like Tachanka or something like that. And there's also an Ella shotgun holding right-hand corner here, or to the right-hand corner of the Nomad. And if she does play this correctly, like she is about right now, and that's diffuser in the hands of the defending side. It is currently even right now, but with that the diffuser down and the Ella shotgun, there is little to no hope for the attacking side right now.
Yeah, I mean, and another one is falling. CMU, I mean, you know, Buena Vista's taking the lead, and you say there's little to no hope, and you've kind of made that swing back. Another does fall, but it might just be, you know, trying to stop that massive bleeding, the hemorrhaging from the defensive side of CMU as they try to hold on. A Warden in this situation would have been a very strong choice. Coolwind definitely has the ability to try and clutch some up. Diffuser going down from the hands of Amdro in a 1 versus 2. Nitro Cell still available, throws it too late, not far enough, and it doesn't even connect in terms of damage. He's going to push in aggressively through that chair, gets, I believe, a down onto 1, but not able to, no, not even a down on 1, and is not able to get that one out as Amdro comes in with, just like Garbs over here has called out, the Zofia LMG, not bringing the M79, instead opting for the LMG in pocket, the LMGE, I believe it is called. So I don't need necessarily memorize that name because it's just not a weapon people tend to bring into play, but, you know, attackers found success in a situation. I agreed with you in that spot. They really had to scrounge up absolutely everything to come back into that one. And I was not anticipating that level of success, but they have found it back to back now and are definitely getting a little bit more confidence under themselves.
I'm just gonna stop making predictions because it seems to go in the opposite direction of what I
Caster's
start.
Caster's
Curse. That's what it was. I remember you mentioned that before. But the Caster's Curse clearly is something that I have as well. You do a lot as well. So I'm just gonna stop saying anything. No more predictions. You're gonna be doing it for me. And then I also wanted to say how much of a bloodbath it was inside of Projector. The Ella shotgun I thought was going to actually do a lot more damage, and like I said, my prediction was that there was little to no hope for the attacking side. But then there was that little hope, that little chance of them winning, and those little peaks that came out from the defenders. And there was a little bit of a wallbang that came through, I believe it was the table in the middle of the site that went onto the Ella shotgun. And that is what I believe won them the round because of how powerful that Ella shotgun is. And if Ella does play that correctly, then she can deny any plant that comes her way.
Yeah, I definitely think the FO is a very strong shotgun in the right hands. I've seen, you know, because we've casted on Villa before, you do see that closet play with the FO in hand from Ellis to sit inside a closet next to master bedroom and kind of hold that window and kind of clear out when necessary. I'm casting for, you know, a different league the other day, and I noticed they, in fact, had put a Warden in that exact position. In fact, it was yesterday. It was for the finals that we were talking about. They put a Warden in that position instead, and I honestly think that would have been the game-changing operator choice, like we had talked about earlier. Bringing a Warden would have denied the CMU attack, and in the same situation, bringing a Warden would have denied the Buena Vista attack. And if they had that Warden, you could have seen through the smoke. You could have had that Mossberg shotgun in hand to wreck the opposition quite thoroughly with that buckshot. Just completely rinse out total hallways, rinse out any chance of them entering through window, and ultimately rinse out the successful round for yourself. But take a look at the Capitao, an operator that gets banned fairly often because they now have that hard breach as well as having the asphyxiation bolts and beyond. And it's going to be very, very difficult for the CMU side to try and hold out against that LMG and utility combination. But not before Meliodas is able to make it even tougher as they find Pepperoni, the main carrier, the main fragger for the CMU side, and he's out first.
Yeah, there was something I was about to mention before, but I believe it was the fact that how like the complete switch in the smoke usage, because they do have the smokes given to them by the Jackal, but there's not a lot of smoke usage that I believe I have seen from this attacking side. But the last attacking side was using it quite a lot. So, like, I was going to say that your idea of bringing the Warden would be very efficient for the attacking side, but there hasn't been much smoke from this side. If the sides were switched still, then I definitely would say yes, but right now I would have to disagree with you. The quick pick on Pepperoni could be the game changer because he has been the one that does close out rounds. He's the one that gets those little quick double kills near the end of the rounds once the entire massacre starts to unfold, and he is the one to clean it up afterwards. But since he is gone, they have to do it themselves. And Silver is actually going to be the first one to pick that up onto the Thermite. And I believe that is diffuser down. They have to focus on that as soon as they can with 40 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean, last engagement now. I mean, it is a 4 versus 4, and not just as I speak about it. Caster's Curse rearing its ugly head. A 3 versus 4, and back again. Don't even give me time to talk about it. A 4 versus 2. Swelvering does fall, and it's just Buena Vista trying to stop that hemorrhaging as it drops to a 3 versus 2. It's Meliodas and Nepo, who've done a very good job for themselves so far, finding 10 and 12. These are the last 2 players you want alive, and they're beginning to show that. Nepo steps in and damages off another player right after the successful kill, and it's going to be Meliodas trying to find 2, and he does! They line up for him, and he finds them there, and Meliodas is going to give Buena Vista the tie-breaking round, and it has been a huge comeback, and it's looking like an extremely attack-sided round in a game that's arguably just flat, plain and simple defensive-sided.
Yeah, I was going to mention in my last little ramble that the aggression on the Capiteo when it came to actually entering the building was, well, there was a lot of aggression. And then he decided to bring that aggression onto site as well. It did work in his favor with that single kill, and then he managed to lit up 2 other operators with his LMG. He did not find himself, but he definitely found both kills for whoever the Jackal was, Meliodas, for the end double kill, and he managed to get that little spray down collateral. That's the word I was looking for. The little collateral spray down by the Jackal that actually did end of the round next to White Van, and they were expecting him to peek there at all. Both of them were looking on the opposite side of the site. They were expecting to push with the Capiteo, I believe, and that was the loss for the defender side because of that.
Yeah, arguably, when you watch out and you're checking these sides go back and forth, it was not looking like a very good situation for Buena Vista. But like I said, and I've been saying the entire game, because unfortunately it's just really come to that, is single individual players carrying your side to a victory. And then eventually, in the way that we're seeing here, Pepperoni for the CMU side and for the Buena Vista side, Meliodas and Nepo. Those are the 3 players you're seeing do exceptionally better than everyone else on your side. And eventually that's going to show its wear and tear. It's going to, that confidence level that's going to eventually dip when you get fragged out early like Pepperoni has been on the defensive side. It's eventually going to wear him out, and it's going to find less and less success as the rounds progress, which we have definitely noticed. Where Pepperoni has been that star player to give them success for the first half, he has not been able to do that for the second half, and instead you're seeing the Buena Vista side of Meliodas and Nepo come through, clutching up and win when they needed to. But Nepo right now, we had seen playing the Capitao before, switching it up, spicing up the situation, and bringing out the Finca boost, which is, same thing we saw from the CMU attack, which wasn't successful at all. The Finca arguably kind of made the situation worse. They weren't using the utility well enough off. It wasn't a very useful utility in the situation, and I argue that while Buena Vista has found success, this might not be the play, but putting it on one of your standout players probably is the play. Put it on a player that is finding success already, and you can take advantage of that health boost in these engagements. And unfortunately, Meliodas, the star player I just spoke about, not finding the star success in this round, leading this to an early 5 versus 4.
Yeah, you did say that he is the star player, and Pepperoni has been pretty much neck and neck with them, the exact same players as well, as Pepperoni picks up a smoke kill as well on the outside. That smoke was triggered triggered a long time ago, and it still did that damage, which I'm very surprised that it did the damage, especially on the Thermite, which is the important operator in the situation that they needed to take care of that wall. And that's exactly where he died before he even did take care of that wall. I was going to say that Meliodas and Pepperoni have been neck and neck, and they've been playing the same operators too. Meliodas is currently playing the Jackal. Pepperoni did pop off with the Jackal on the attacking side as well. And I also did want to mention that I feel like the defending side, their strats are really well set up, and everything that they do bring to the table has been it's good. It's really nice. That's all you can really say about it. But the thing is that they really need to do is just calm down and realize that they need to figure out how the attacking side is playing, which is pretty much aggressive, like you can see from Ney right now. Ney needs to be able to figure out that there are 2 people holding his angle right now, and he does manage to get the support from the Zofia right there. There's currently 5 people remaining, so it doesn't look too hot for the attacking side. A little bit of more pre-fires going out right now. I don't think there is an LMG in the hands of the Zofia right now. No, there is an LMG right now, so let's see if that damage can actually translate through both the players with the LMGs as Ne does taking down very quickly. It does not look too hot for the attacking side because there are currently 5 defenders left. Sophia no longer has her withstand, so she can't really do much. So she does need the help of the gridlock, and then is instantly taken down as a result. And Swolverine is the one to end it out with a flawless round.
Yeah, CMU finally finding a flawless round. They have yet to find the ace necessarily. A couple 4Ks and 3Ks from Pepperoni, but no ace yet. We did see already an ace from the Buena Vista side, and already a flawless round from the Buena Vista side. CMU, if they can tie this up and get an ace in this last round, if they can take it from this match point scenario and win it out, I would be very shocked, but it would be a phenomenal showing. They've managed to kind of plug the wounds that they've started. Like you said, there isn't very much to complain about the strategies that they're bringing out on their defensive side. Their strategies are very coherent. Their captain, their coach, they're putting together, you know, well-placed strategies that I know and seen before, and I know that they work. The problem is the individualistic, you know, personalities of the players that are there. You can't just take any old strategy and put it into a team and expect it to always work. You have individuality. Your players play in different ways. Your players, you know, prefer different operators. They have different things they do, and you need to kind of pull it up a little bit in this situation. You have to take it on the chin for that type of strategy and just say, we can't rock this despite its success and its known success. Switch it up a little bit. But despite that, CMU2 finding success in the last round, like I said, plugging that wound, and it's just the small mistakes that they managed to turn around and not have be a problem here. And it obviously became a problem for Buena Vista. They're going to need to change it up, and we do see them they are changing it up. A Dokkaebi is being brought into play. You have that utility, that information call out, that information denial if you can hack those cameras, and you no longer see Nepo playing the Kabutow or the Finka. You are seeing the Zofia come through, which is definitely going to make this attack with the smoke grenades you do see on Dokkaebi and Meliodas a lot more fruitful.
Yeah, their strats are fine and everything else is pretty much flawless. The only issue is just they need to win their gunfights, and their positioning that follows through with those gunfights need to be tweaked as well. And then, like you mentioned, the Dokkaebi, bringing along those smokes as well. As 2 operators that do bring 2 sets of smokes. I want to see them actually incorporate them into their play because, like I mentioned before, they did not really use them as much when it came to their attacking side. Meliodas, like I mentioned before, he's sticking to the Jackal like Pepperoni did, but Pepperoni seems to be a little bit more flexible with his operator picks. You mentioned before that people do like those operator picks that they stick with, and they play those certain operators the way they do. As Pepperoni sadly does get taken down, that is a little bit more commentator's curse, as I say that he is a really great player and he's very flexible, and then instantly gets taken down, and a little bit more damage does get dealt by Silver Fox as she does take down Net as well. This is, I just gotta stop talking at this point. You're gonna concentrate for the rest of this match, okay?
You gotta eat the caster's curse sometimes. You just gotta take it. I mean, it happens so many times. And it becomes a point where things become unpredictable. There just is no way to predict what's going to happen. And, you know, unfortunately, obviously it's becoming one of those scenarios. You just have to take it at that point. But I do want to point out that every single time we've seen Buena Vista, or maybe not every, but most of the time we've seen Buena Vista find success on their attacking ground, it's when they find Pepperoni out and about and just act on it. They remove him from the opposition, and it's found them success. Obviously, you do still have Silver Fox, who's done very well. 10 kills, has reached the double digits, has joined that double-digit squad, and you have Corwin and Isretro not far behind to try and join it as well. It's just going to come down to whether or not this is the last round, or, you know, if it's going to actually make it into the overtime. Pepperoni and Nepo, they're taken out of the opposition, so it's going to be a little bit easier for both sides, but at the same time, you do have to worry about that. Isretro joins the double-digit squads, just as I was talking about him earlier. King Crimson falls to that gun in hand, and now it's another battle, an uphill battle for CMU to try and hold on when necessary. A 3 versus 4. Meliodas is trying to find opposition when successfully. He's aware that there might be a player below in Visa. Nothing is actually found just yet, but you do have to worry if you are the CMU side, the Central Methodist side, about Silver Fox. He's done very well for himself, has found success, but he is very low on health. You don't know how long it's going to last, and you don't know whether or not you're going to find it, but they do find it. That's 2 back-to-back while Archangel was putting the diffuser down. He gets it down, but there's a team kill. Corwin finds Silver Fox. A 2 versus 2 situation now, and it is not supposed to be this way. CMU had no right to come through this, and they are now, you know, finding that, hey, we may not have a right. He's looking at him. Swolverine is looking on the side. He's right there, and he falls, and it's going to be BVU. They come through in an absolute, I don't want to say throw, but it's definitely
that's what it was.
kind of a throw from CMU. They do not notice the man lying down on the diffuser, and they don't notice the man right next door, and they immediately get the team kill as well. Everything, mistakes all around from the CMU side. We've seen such a great game from them. You don't anticipate that type of mistake, especially in a match point scenario.
There's a lot of stuff that I was gonna start joking about during that, but that entire situation just made me lose my train of thought and like lose everything I was about to mention. The only thing that I remember that I was gonna mention is that I need to formally apologize to Pepperoni after this game. I'm no longer mentioning him, no longer casting. That was what I was going to bring up, and that is all I really have for you right there. Because
every time you speak his name, it's a curse. He dies pretty swiftly after.
So that guy is no longer.
How much is Buena Vista paying you to speak his name?
Quite a lot. I can say that guy is no longer going to be in my vocabulary and is just completely going to be blocked out from my mind completely. So I want to see that guy actually rotate, actually play as Rome. I'm going to be saying that guy for the rest of this.
Pepperoni.
But yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna say that guy. You're gonna say Pepperoni, and that's just.
Wave your hand to me, and I'll say his name.
Oh yeah. I'll blink twice, and that's when you have to say Pepperoni. But all he has to do, Melucia, a very Rome-heavy character. She just has to throw down her gadgets, throw down her impacts wherever she needs those rotates, and she just has to. She can go wherever she wants after that because her gun is so efficient in the play in her play. And now I remember what I was gonna say. I now remember what I was gonna say. Okay, so I was gonna say I love how even this match is. I love how even it is, and how we are currently in overtime, and you can see by the kills and the KD of these players. I was about to say that you were mentioning how they were all in the double digits, or who was in the double digits and who was joining the people in the double digit club. And you can mention, you can look at on the right hand side, you see 3 players with double digits. On the left-hand side, you see 3 people with double digits, and obviously there's going to be that one person that is above all of them, and that is Pepperoni. Oh, I said it, guys. I said it. No, he got the kill. He got the kill, though.
Your curse has been lifted. We have the holy water splashed on top. He's finding that little bit of success, and giving the lead a little bit more advantageously for the CMU defensive hold. And like you spoke about, I do also want to comment about the Melucia. You have that utility. You place the wubs down. You have the impacts to make the rotations. We've only seen one get used. That second one's going to be the Pokeball to try and choose the opposition if a down does come through. Save that in pocket, have that utility available if you so need it at a point. And I think that Melucia, despite the nerf that getting the angle grip removed off of that weapon, despite that, Melucia's going to have still a heavy presence in a defensive hold. It's just too strong of an operator. She's too phenomenal of an operator and a roamer to not pick that up. And I think that is something that a lot of teams will recognize and definitely continue to use.
I like what Ubisoft did when it came to the release of Melucia, because what they did was they nerfed Jaeger and tried to turn him less of a roaming operator and more of an anchor operator, and that's kind of what they did. He's not used as much for roaming, and then they released the Melucia, and I believe someone mentioned to me at some point that their idea of nerfing Jaegers because they didn't want as much of a roam presence, but then they added Melucia, which is pretty much the essence of roaming. She has the gadgets you can just throw down and not worry about afterwards, and then she has the impacts, she has the amazing gun, she's a 3-speed, she is the full package of a roamer into one single operator. And small sprite as well, or small player model is what I meant to say. Small player model is what you have to worry about when it comes to the attacking side. So perfect operator for Pepperoni, because exactly what he's been playing, and hopefully he does not die in the next 5 seconds, because I did just mention his name once again. But currently it does seem to be going in the favor of the defending side, and probably will end up as a win for at least one overtime.
He said a prediction, and Meliodas hears it, knows it, and finds Pepperoni. Everything falling apart now as Pepperoni falls to the gun in the hand, the C7E, which has been arguably the most effective gun tonight for either side. Silver Fox does try to deny it a little bit further, but gets traded out in return. His 3K will not become a 4K as Retro finds him. And the jump over the top defenders do win it out. Caster's curse be gone. Absolutely no chance there. And I mean, it looking, a little back and forth at the end, but Central Methodist University, their 2 team, finds another round, and they'll hopefully make it 2. The 2 team will try to find 2 back-to-back, and if they can, round 1 win, or map 1 win, I should say, Consulate will go for the CMU side. But I know for a fact that Buena Vista struggled on their defensive side. They found most of their success in attack. So when you see Central Methodist come out swinging and winning their attacking side, winning their defensive side, they're now heading to the attacking side that they found success on. And this is definitely going to be what they need in this situation. They need to win out in an attack. They've done it before. They've won most of their attacking sides. They can do it here, and they can find a second back-to-back. And I'm going to call it here. Caster's Curse only affecting you. CMU have a 95% chance of winning this attack. Prove me wrong, Buena Vista. I would absolutely love for them to prove me wrong. I want them to prove me wrong and to show off and win this one out, bringing us to a guarantor decider round.
I was probably sweating more than the defenders were when it came to that little back and forth because of the fact that I did mention that they were probably going to win it, but sadly the attackers did manage to lose that. Well, happy in my situation, but sadly in their favor. They seem to actually be running the basement site again. Actually, no, this was actually a switch. This is a switch. They did bring the Mira and they did bring the Finka. I was going to mention that because the only teams to actually bring those two operators have been Retro and Wolverine. It's I don't know why they do run the Finka. I'm not a big fan of that pick, to be honest. Like,
I don't know.
I feel like they should be switching out for probably a little bit more utility, or an operator that can actually give a little bit more utility. Maybe the nades is the reason why they're bringing it. I honestly don't know. The gun's pretty accurate.
They have nades though,
yeah.
Let's talk about this for a second, right? You and I, we hate seeing the same strategies on every single map, right? We like variation. Who doesn't like variation, right? Oregon, right? we like to see this change in strategy. And here's the thing, I actually like Oregon because there's such intricate variation in the attacking strategies. But you don't see a very wide operator variety, which is the total polar opposite of what we're seeing here. And I love to see that, but I hate to see it at the same time. Why is Finka being brought out once again? Why are you bringing this into situation on both sides? It hasn't worked for either side. Wolverine has found some minor success on the defense, but came through and I believe into the attacking side with only 1 kill total. And it's like, maybe they know that Wolverine's not very strong on the attack. Maybe that's the plan. Bring out the Finka, who is a huge team booster all around for the side, and maybe that's why you bring it, but I just can't defend the choice for Finka for either side.
Yeah, of course. And then one of the operators that, or actually 2 operators that are banned quite frequently in like any game mode in this game, competitive, ranked, unranked, it doesn't matter. It comes down to Mira and Jackal, the 2 Spanish operators, and they are both being abused almost every single round of this entire match. Pepperoni's been playing it very well. Retro's been playing, I believe it was him the entire time when it came to the the specific sites that they actually did decide to bring the Mara on. And here comes the smokes. This is where I mentioned this is the team that uses the smokes and they need the Warden for this, but Ned actually does pick up Silver Fox in the process, and they do have the smokes of their own. That's probably what they use instead of the Warden, which probably is the better choice to bring the smoke instead of actually using a Warden that only singles out as his own little ADS. So it's going to be closing out pretty quickly here because that is now Diffuser in the reinforcement. I'm going to see if I can commentator curse this. CMU will win this round.
All right, so Buena Vista coming in, getting the button. No, I'm just kidding. Pepperoni does find 1 success onto his Retro. A strong player to take out of the opposition. That's the player behind the mirror window, or should be. And another one, Caster's Curse, is rearing its ugly head. Wolverine. He heard me talking smack, and now the Caster's Curse is coming around as he finds a kill under his belt. That boost would be more useful for the Buena Vista side, however. They're all fairly low in HP. Archangel sitting at about 2. That may be even just 1. It's not looking good. They see the cross out. Archangel opting not to take the shot. Doesn't take the shot on the opposition. That's Pepperoni finding his double kill. Will Pepperoni, with the C70 in hand, get success? He does, finding the triple kill. And now it's up to the Buena Vista side. Nepo is the last one standing, but Pepperoni finding the 4K and finding Central Methodist University 2's squad the win here on Consulate.
History has repeated itself, but twice in one single round. I said that Pepperoni pulls up with the double kills to clean up every single round, but he just pulled off a 4K to clean up the round. That is beautiful play by Pepperoni. How many kills did he have to end?
I'm marking all this down. This is going to my notes right now. Pepperoni dropping massive 19 bomb. Oh my goodness. Dawson and Nepo dropping 14 and 15.
Wow. Okay. I was about to mention in the past because you last night you cast last night. I believe his name was Higet. Was his name that dropped
that man? That man, and it is a T4 league, and a lot of people don't know what that means for R6. It's the bottom of the barrel kind of esport league level. It's just basic players, some teams that just are startup teams. and it was a T4 team facing off against a T3 team, a higher level semi-professional team that has played in T2, one single step below actual pro link. They've scrimmed T2 teams with some success under their belt, and they came through as a T4 team and won off of the back of one man. And that's one of the reasons why I say that I don't like teams that have to rely on being carried. I had to watch that game, and it was entertaining as all get out. But I get the man had to carry every single match. He dropped 25 kills on map 2 and 19 kills on map 3. The man had to go off to win his team that win, and we're seeing that same type of level as the 19 bomb does get dropped by Pepperoni. And the question is going to be, can Pepperoni maintain that level of play as we head to the next map on Clubhouse? And this is a lot more difficult of a map to find that level of success because it's a lot tighter. Hallways are a lot shorter. It's a lot more difficult for you to find, long range kills with that C7E.
When it came to Coastline, I wanted because it was a very roam heavy map because of how open it is and the amount of rotates that they give to the defenders. When it comes to Clubhouse, they won't be able to do that as much because the rotates are not really there. I mean, unless you run Oryx, that's the only time that you really have multiple a much larger amount of rotates to his disposal. Clubhouse itself is just, like I mentioned before, strat heavy map, and you need to focus on that heart breach before anything else. So I would like to see this plays that come off of these two teams. I have mentioned before that some of the plays the attacking side have been questionable. Defending, not too bad, but I do want to say that the attacking side has not been the cleanest. So I want to see if they can actually pick it up when it comes to Clubhouse.
Well, I mean, it was obviously a great showing from both sides. We had a very fun time, casting that. We're going to head to a break, I believe, in between the next match and this. It'll just be a few minutes there. We'll come right back and we'll get into the next map on Clubhouse for the CMU, the Central Methodist University 2 squad, and the Buena Vista side. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Infernosis. I'm joined here by Kaaroh, and this has been the Central Methodist University 2 squad versus Buena Vista. Kaaroh, I know you have a couple things you wanted to touch on about before we head into here on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I mentioned before in the past that they were actually they seemed a lot more comfortable on attack.
Oh,
I believe
comfortable? Did I just hear the word Speaking of comfortable, let's jump right into this one. HyperX mission has been to develop gaming products for all types of gamers. High-speed memory, solid-state drives, headsets, keyboards, mice, charging accessories for console players, USB flash drives, and mouse pads to all of the gaming community and beyond.
Wait, did you just say HyperX?
I did.
Wait, I got a fact for you, Inferno. Did you know that HyperX gear is the choice of celebrity ambassadors, pro gamers, tech enthusiasts, and overclockers worldwide because it meets the most stringent product specifications and is built with the best in-class components?
I never would have thought about that. I mean, me personally, I use the Alloy FBS Pro. Absolutely love this thing. It's got the MX, cherry red keyboard, so no clickety-clackety. I'm typing this entire time, taking my in-game notes. Not a noise. Completely silent.
Haven't heard it once.
Haven't heard it once. Phenomenal keyboard, phenomenal product. Thank you very much, HyperX, for sponsoring here. I know we're having a little bit of fun with the segue, but nonetheless, we can talk and jump into it actually into Clubhouse. I think that we can go ahead and get sent over to it. But Clubhouse, a completely different style of map than Coastline, so it's going to be a completely different game, like we spoke about. We probably will see the same, players kind of have that standoffish game, but it'll be completely. By the way, it says BMU and not BVU. By the way, we've already been sent into it. Unfortunate, but it must have been a mistype as they were resetting the lobby. But
Gotcha.
it should be fine. Unfortunate, but if the Rios does want to come through, we can continue to talk about it. But Clubhouse, completely different game, completely different strategies come through. The operator bans are going to be completely different. You'll probably see a Maverick or a Hibana get banned out for defense, a Kaid or a, you could see some different things. There's the Thatcher be banned out. So now the question is, which hard breach are going to be banned out? Of course, we had the Monty and Clash banned before, which is kind of a wrench in the game. But I think that they probably won't screw around too much with these bans. Like
I mentioned before, that it had to be VOD reviews. Oh, there's the Monty. Okay, never mind.
Never mind. Okay. So, by the way, if you can send us, we're guaranteeing so we are going to remake. So the operator bans will stay. The operator bans will stay, and unfortunately, you guys. Yeah, you can't see those guys because they haven't switched it over to it. But the
Ooh,
third ban is the Mira. We do get switched now. The third ban is the Mira. So, not too much of a switch. BMU kind of taking that liberty with the Monte. They must really hate Monty. They must
sorry.
absolutely despise the
Clash.
Monty choice and want to get rid of that as soon
There
as
it is.
possible. Last ban coming in Clash. Okay, so who can I talk to? Whether it be a coach, I liked the strategies and whatnot. This ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. Like,
They banned Valkyrie last time, which was kind of understandable for how big the map is when it comes to Consulate, but Mira should have been their first choice when it came to Consulate because that was definitely a huge to the first map. This time, I can say that I could say that Clubhouse is probably not as bad as Consulate, but I can definitely say that it should have been banned on Consulate more than it Clubhouse.
yeah, like definitely, like mistakes can happen. Picking the bands, obviously, I think those bands are a little bit of a mistake. But obviously, we also had the mistake of the BMU instead of the BVU inside the title. But mistakes then happen, and you're definitely going to need to do the rehost, which rehost Respawn. And so we can take a little bit talk about our next gaming sponsor. Respawn products are forged for all-day comfort for content creators, professional and casual players, or anyone looking to upgrade their setup.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I love how like we keep bringing these up, but I have so many facts about every single one of these sponsors so far because Respawn has been battle tested and achieves a level of comfort that leaves competitors in the dust. Live to play another day with Respawn, your battle ready partner.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't segue into it comfortability with that one because while I did cast the Overwatch games last week with Unicorn, a fellow, great color caster for Overwatch, and it was very fun to cast along with him. He actually was one of the winners of the Respawn shares that were given away here in NECC. They gave it to a few staff. He's one of the people that was given one of those chairs and had those available, and he loves the chair. He talked about it. We gushed over it during the break, and I was able to make a segue joke about it. Of course, I like to make these make the segues a little bit entertaining.
So
So
So I was actually going to talk about because I don't typically mess with gaming chairs. I don't typically buy gaming chairs, but when it comes to Respawn, I have played in tournaments. When it came to Siege, I have played in tournaments, and their main focus was around Respawn. And when it came to playing with those gaming chairs, my entire roster that we played with, they all bought Respawn chairs after playing in that tournament. That's how good the chair was, and everyone was just like, okay, we need to get these chairs because of how comfortable it was in that current situation. And in that tense state, they needed a little bit more comfort, and that's exactly what it gave them.
yeah, if you perform at a high level, like I've talked about, eventually, there's a mental toll, and there's also the physical toll that gets weighed in on you. And as someone who casts for these type of things quite often, I mean, there's a physical toll that's weighed in on me as well. Thankfully, I have a fairly nice gel. I do not have a Respawn chair. Unfortunately, would absolutely love to have that level of comfortability, as I have heard friends that I have and people like you, gushing over that fact. And
Next on the
you have to have that level of comfortability to perform at a high level. People joke, say there's a cheater in a game. We go, oh, what's his gaming chair? It's his gaming chair giving him that, right? He's got that. But like, I mean, there is some truth behind, having a nice gaming chair will lead to a high level of success or even an improved gaming style. Peripherals are indeed a portion of gaming. You have a better equipment, say a HyperX keyboard, or a HyperX mouse or anything of the sort, and you will perform at a higher level when you have that level of thing. I mean, it's like talking about monitors, right? If you have a very nice monitor with a high refresh rate, you're more likely to hit shots that you wouldn't have hit at a lower refresh rate. So chairs can also hold that difference. Whether you hold yourself in a nice 90-degree angle with good posture, like me, myself, or if you slouch with one shoulder up here like Kaaroh. So, I mean...
All right, listen. I just got to get a gaming Respawn chair because right now
the
this chair is not working out for me. It's all flimsy on the side. The durability of the Respawn chair is definitely because I was doing the exact position when it came to the tournament with the little shoulder up, and it did not budge. It was perfect. It was so comfortable in any position you can sit in.
Yeah, I mean, you think how much you beat up and use gaming chairs, or like we're gonna talk about peripherals in the first, but it ain't peripheral. You know how much you beat up peripherals? Like I get mad, I'll slam my mouse down. You gotta have some durable stuff. You gotta have, very nice. This is the one thing I use. I have two computers, so my main, keyboard I use is a HyperX keyboard, and I absolutely love it because it's much more quiet. But my other keyboard is a Razer keyboard that's very strong, and that's like the one thing, the only redeeming factor I like about other peripheral brands. And HyperX does have one that I've used before. My friend has bought it, and I love it actually more than my Razer keyboard. I just haven't bought it yet. because this one hasn't broken yet. Because it's strong. It's you have to have that strength, that tensile strength of the equipment. And you know, while some of my mice I've had that I razor have broken multiple times, you know,
I was gonna
it's
say
hard to
that.
replace until that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like the HyperX keyboard, the lifespan that it has, unlike your mice. I was gonna say because when it's your mouse is the only thing I hear out of all your equipment because of how quiet the HyperX is. It's the only thing I hear whenever you have those little nice little situations when it comes to having to deal with siege, just teammate communication. That's all I hear. Like it's either you screaming or your mouse hitting the ground, and I've never heard your keyboard
calling
once.
me out now. I'm being called out now. All right. So, all right. I mean, he's not incorrect. I mean, you have to think about it. And somebody like, say you have a microphone like myself. You can obviously see it in my frame.
If
Kaaroh has a microphone as well. These mics can be very sensitive. I won't up mine to an excessive level to show that off, but I mean, there are stages microphones can get very loud and very sensitive, and the more that people bring out of nicer equipment and nicer peripherals, and you know, upgrade their audio quality level to the next level, and you know, bring out these things like HyperX has headphones that are very nice. And I've actually used a HyperX headphone with a very nice microphone on it. That's the one thing 100% that HyperX is like phenomenal with for their headphones is they're good quality and their microphones aren't actually bad. Like
yeah. Like, this is even like
mic that's not bad, and that is honestly, as an audiophile, as someone who cares about audio, that is the most important thing to me. Is your headset mic actually any good, right?
Yeah, like this isn't even like scripted at all. This is like genuine. This is like my genuine comments. Like this isn't my main headset. This is like my other one's at a different house right now, and I just don't have it at my disposal right now. I would typically not use these, but sadly I have to right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use HyperX headphones because I haven't had a need to. I mean, these ones, like the same thing. If they don't break, don't fix it, right? I don't have $1,000 to switch around, but
don't fix it or
you
whatever.
don't need $1,000 to switch around for HyperX. HyperX can go at a very affordable price. If you take a look at HyperX products available online today, they're actually, you know, they're at a very affordable price that you can pick up and check out. And while we're sitting here, I wouldn't, jump to the next sponsor. Then we want to have something to talk about later, so I'm not going to jump to the next sponsor. But we'll talk about, we'll talk about the matchup. Rainbow6. So far, we've had, the Buena Vista. They came back, and it was a very close comeback situation, and unfortunately weren't able to take the win, despite some casters curse being flung around here by Kaaroh. And
listen, I don't want to talk about it. I called you out. You don't need to swing it back. I've already taken my hits.
You gotta be able to take it if you're gonna swing it as well. All right? I can agree with it 100%. The second you talk about somebody, they inevitably will die. They're either die or they're gonna get an ace, right? Like that's the way it is. One or the other. Yeah, and so I mean that's just one of the things you have to fare with as a caster and kind of read into the situation. But sometimes, and I honestly want to say there on Coastline or sorry Consulate, I couldn't even read when somebody was going to die. There was just so much happening. There was a completely different play style. I know you can probably agree with me on this here, Cars, casting for different leagues and whatnot. Don't see that play style very often at all. You don't see that type of play. It's very different.
We're actually going to be going straight into the match right now on Clubhouse. I mentioned before that it is a very strat-heavy map, and the wide range of hard breachers that you have at your disposal when it comes to Maverick. Maverick is probably the most efficient one out of all of them, and I hope to see a Maverick pick come out of the attacking side.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. You didn't ban Hibana, you didn't ban Maverick, and so when you go to the basement, you're going to bring Hibana for that kitchen hatch. When you go to CCTV, you're more than likely going to see a Maverick. We see the Thermite in play with a Blitz.
Yeah, that was another random pick.
The sixth pick. I'm hoping it actually is becoming a Maverick because they, in my opinion, they need that secondary hard breach. But no, they're going to opt for the Twitch pick, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I do like to see variation in strategy. I do like to see them switch it up. The Twitch is not a bad idea to deny the Kite Electric Claws or even a Bandit. The Bandit batteries, if a Bandit was in play, it's a great way to deny that utility and that little extra step. And they are definitely going to have to worry, though, for the attacking side. Your only hard breach is in the hands of one guy. And Retro did very well for himself, but will it be enough to guarantee them to keep him alive to be able to get that hard breach in their favor?
Yeah, there's 3 separate. Just this side alone, there's a lot of there's many variables that could come to the attacking side push. There are 3 walls. There's the CC wall, there's the construction wall, and there's the garage wall. Typically, you see the garage wall being opened by the Habana if they do choose to reinforce it, and that Habana is typically used to Capito's disposal so they can actually take care of the CC wall. With only having 1 operator that can actually deal with hard breach is not a good decision on BVU's part. They should be bringing, like I mentioned, either the Maverick, an ace would be good. Just any other hard breacher should be brought right now because of the amount of hard breach that they could be opening up to apply that pressure to the defending side.
No. We have seen a pretty heavy emphasis on entry fraggers in this matchup so far. It's really just a frag heavy. It's a really frag heavy kind of game, and it's also a very heavy kind of game for it hurts even more because that's the Twitch drone right there. That's the Twitch drone. That thing can't jump. That thing has no legs. It just rolls around and does whatever it wants on that same level of play. It can't get any higher or any lower unless it takes the stairs. All right, it's a ramp to get around. Amtro does fall into the hands of the opposing side. That seems to be outside that actual garage side. And unfortunately, that means that Amtro's going to be either revived and picked up with very low HP or left to die in, left in the dust. It looks like Mel is actually going to make the rotation around, though, to pick that one back up. But, the one player the damage is done, that's going to be a very low health situation for them.
Yeah, the reason why Zofia, a lot of people like to pick Zofia is because those random situations that we just were placed into. Her getting shot, taken down by a spawn peak, as Silver Fox does take down in the process, that is one of their entry fraggers, and a lot of soft breach, rather, that has been taken off the table. But with Zofia, her withstand is the reason why a lot of people play Zofia, because those lucky situations where they can use withstand and actually get up just off of sheer will and anger from the Polish lady. But yeah, now that they have taken away, she's not useless, but she definitely has that little ability taken away, and it's not as useful as she was before, obviously.
What's your take on that? Because oh no, we did not.
We're good.
Oh, okay, we're good. What's your take on that, by the way? Because in my opinion, I thought it wasn't very useful. I mean, the withstand, yeah, it can be annoying in the occasional situation, but it's been in the game for so long now, and you're just now complaining about it enough to have it removed. It seems a little on the nose or a little touchy. Archangel finds one with the F2 in hand onto Pepperoni, and we didn't have to speak Pepperoni's name this time to get the kill, but Silver Fox is going to find his second, the shotgun in hand. That is the FO finding off the opposition, and I'm just going to head up this central staircase. So feel like we had just spoken about low on health, but now the turn around the corner, will this actually be a hard fought for this hallway, this 90 corner, and it goes the headshot straight on. Retro finds one in return as well, but gets traded out in return. That's King Crimson finding success, and a 2 versus 2 is set up, but you do still have Amcho with very low HP to his name, trying to make the rotation to the site. Not successful from Archangel. That is the Jaeger of King Crimson finding that kill. It's Amtro, the man who we saw go down initially and now go down again, as we do see Central Methodist starting off strong with a very nice round win on the CCTV and cash room objective.
When it came to the Zofia, I was going to make a joke and just say into my mic real quick, Zofia is not going to clutch this out just to see if it would work. And she did come pretty close. That Ella shotgun, I thought the interaction was going to go in the favor of the Ella, but the perfect shot that Amtro was able to pull out was absolutely stunning. And then you did want to pick my brain about Zofia's withstand. I feel like I said, those really rare situations where she can be down on the outside or down in a situation to where she can crawl to safety in time to actually get her own withstand up. I feel like it is such an insignificant change because of how rare the situation can really come out. Yeah. Like if she's in a 1v whatever situation, that doesn't really come out because they just have to run up. They know that they downed it. If they have points on, unless you're in a competitive play like we are in right now, if you have points on, you can say, okay, I downed him. It's a Zofia because the round hasn't ended yet, so I just have to run over there, take care of him, and we're good. That's all it's really about.
Seems like the withstand that promote a higher level of play, though, right?
Oh yeah,
at least that's 100%. My take on it. It promotes a higher level of play. It's kind of like bullet hole spawn peaks, like those melee holes. It's annoying. I 100% agree with you on that. There are difficulties trying to face off against it, but it promotes such a level of play, such a high level of play, that it's better for the sport, the esport in general. And I think that's something that needs to be taken into account. And Ubisoft apparently not liking what they did. They removed that, and they removed one of the Ella mines, the Polish twins, kind of getting hit with a nerf at the same time. And while Ella hasn't seen as much play recently, but people not liking that extra goo mine you had in pocket when going down.
When it came to Ella's Grismot mine, she actually would the ability to actually activate it while down was, like I mentioned, it's that little passive that wasn't as significant as you thought it would be. Because like you think, oh, Zofia can up herself. Oh no, it's not that big of a deal. When it comes to the Ela, typically long-range engagements, unless she's running the Ela shotgun, it's not that big of a deal. And the fact there's also another change that they did, I believe it was the effect of both their gadgets.
Effect.
Yeah, the concussion effect is no longer
your own gadget. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not as they can't as resilient to each other's gadgets anymore, and because of that, it's a little bit more fair. And a lot of people joke about giving Zofia's withstand to Tachanka, and I feel like people say that Tachanka's like utility, and a lot of people say that it's not that good, but we can't see it in competitive play yet. Since we can't see in competitive play yet, we can't see those professional strats actually come out and actually see it, because I know that his utility is useful. I know for a fact it is, but I want to see competitive play actually come out and actually use it. You know,
it's a more effective smoke.
It's much more
off a much longer period of time and much more dangerous situation. Now it doesn't have the sight line, problem that the smoke does allow you to have, where you can have that situation. Obviously, Tachanka can't sit in his own fire because it is fire hot, caveman hot, right, kind of thing. We've known that for a very long time. Oh, the rush! Silver Fox almost able to find a second, but is not able to, as that is Poe finding success there. Mel was the first one to die in the opposition as well, and now a 4 versus 4. Pepperoni is going to hold inside of the basement. He's going to hold out inside of Memorial. There is a hatch above, but no way to actually clear out the Electro Claw that is keeping that one shocked, and that is a bit of a misplay by the Buena Vista side, like we spoke about, to not bring that Maverick in to take out the Electro Claw hatches, because you also didn't ban the Electro Claw Kaid. So you got to think about the situations, the consequences of your actions for banning the Monty and the Clash.
We have seen a lot of like not random, but just like out of the ordinary weapon picks. I mean, Zofia's LMG is obviously very effective, and I can't talk down on the weapon itself, but you don't really see a lot of people using it. Just not really for any reason. I mean, like, it's very effective. The ammo capacity on it and everything is very effective, but people just don't play it for some reason. Like, her main gun is effective enough, I guess, and they don't really need to switch it out. I guess it might be the fire rate, as that's diffuser down in the kitchen. That could be a round changer, because that's 30 seconds to go grab it. Thank God someone is actually in there right now, and that happens to be the Habana. She needs to make a decision right now to actually close out this round.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look, and usually you bring a Maestro in for defense to sit behind main boxes. We don't actually see that for the defensive side, but they're still finding success. Pepperoni goes on to Poe, and Swolverine finds Amtro. It's now in a 1 versus 4. Archangel is on. He's going to start the diffuser placement. Will he be able to get it up? We don't know. No, King Crimson from behind, crowning himself and this Central Methodist side the victors in this round, giving them, 2 rounds back-to-back in this type of situation. Buena Vista struggling on the attack, but this is not a shocker. Clubhouse is a very defensive-sided map. It's very difficult to come in swinging as an attacking side when you are kind of forced to play into the defender's game, and especially when you're forced to have to face off against a Kaid with no counter.
But yeah, when you see those defenders in those like vulnerable situations that they decide to put themselves in, especially the roamers, that's when you got to take advantage of the situation. Because once that roamer does that damage and actually either does the damage or gets the kill, at that point they need to make a rotate back down to site, because then once they take that advantage, they still have that main advantage once they rotate back down. So once you need to close out that roamer and try to take care of them and actually coordinate with your team as soon as you can to actually take care of it. And that's the reason why people say, oh, it's a defender-sided map, it's an attacker-sided map, because the defenders have so much room and so much rotation to work with. And that's exactly what happened there. But sadly, when it came to I believe it was Silver Fox was playing the Vigil. He ran up, and sadly, I believe it was Mel, she had gotten to a very unfortunate situation where she had to ADS to take care of the Vigil, and the Vigil got a kill on Mel and then tried to focus. The Ash was too quick and actually took care of him in the process. If he was to not continue forward and run back to site in that situation, that would have been their advantage. That would have been a man in their favor. And if he was to run back in site and Ash wasn't to close off the rotate back down into site, then that would have been good for the defenders.
Yeah, I mean, there's little mind games that definitely do be taken into a part. Like some teams don't recognize fast enough about how to rotate, when to rotate, what's the safest point at which to step away. As a roamer, you're typically like I don't want to say silver strategy or like copper strategy, right? But I mean, it kind of is recognized as that in higher level of play. It is as a roamer, it's just step away from objective and get kills. That's what like the base idea of a roamer is. And while I absolutely love that base idea of play, it's not exactly the smartest. Archangel, however, fairly smart, does take damage in the process facing off against Silver Fox. With Silver Fox, that Ella in hand, not available. The goo mines will still be placed around. Sorry, the goo mines, the concussion mines will be placed around, and you do have to worry about those as you progress throughout the map, but don't have to worry about Ella herself and that shotgun that has been a definite thorn in your side previously. Amcho now down, but not out. Still has the availability to be picked up and will be successfully done. I worry now when, as a Central Methodist, watching this one out, they're one player down, a shotgun player down, and one of their top frags down. This is going to be a little bit more difficult for them, but they do have a very nice tertiary objective of this bedroom and gym site.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the roaming role, like you mentioned, is that a lot of people like to play it mainly because you can actually pick apart one person's play just based off of awareness. Like, you're not restricted to sight as if you were playing an anchor, but when you are roaming, you are able to like adjust, and you are flexible to the point to where you can actually set up yourself into a position to actually counter whatever objective that, or whatever room that the attackers are deciding to take in that situation. And you can actually find weaknesses in their play, find a little spot you can peek, and once you find that weakness, you can execute. And depending on how well you execute it, you can actually put a giant like weight on their shoulders and a lot more stress, a lot more pressure to the attacking side.
Speaking of pressure, look at how this comeback has kind of been mounted right here. Buena Vista had the huge advantage. I believe it was like a 2 or even 3 player advantage at some point. And Central Methodist is saying, nah, fam, we're still in this one, still fighting it out where necessary. And you're seeing Swolverine and Corwin really come through into their own right now, both having dropped 3 kills. An impact comes out from the Malusi, that luckily not taking out her own Wubba, but it is a noise distraction. As the flank comes through, information is gathered though from the drone denying that. And the Blackbeard comes up the steps, but it is taken out. Archangel had all the right to win that fight with the Blackbeard shield up, but just didn't click down fast enough. And it goes now in the favor. It's Retro. We know that they can do this. They got the ace, the only ace we saw in the last map. Will they be able to get the last 2 kills as well? And they can't. Wolverine hiding behind the workout station. And it goes in another round victory for Central Methodist. And again, zero belief in me right there that they were going to bring that out. Just, with that huge man disadvantage that they had. I mean, still, no matter what, a great comeback from them.
Yeah, the Malusi's play there, where she threw the impact, and I don't know if she did damage or not. I'm pretty sure she didn't, but she actually managed not to hit her gadget. It was still there in the process. It wasn't really there. It didn't really make much of a difference, but still, it was there to be used later on in the round. Her timing was absolutely perfect throughout that, and like her awareness that was Blackbeard pushing up those stairs was perfect as well, because she instead of aiming for the head, she went straight for the body as soon as she saw the giant face shield get thrusted up the stairs. And when she took down that Blackbeard, she sat back in the corner of the doorway and she didn't move. And I don't know if that was like, she was aware that Thermite was going to peek that window or not, but as soon as that happened, that is when Thermite peeked it. And he seemed to focus on the rotates more than the hallway. I don't know if that was a call out that wasn't really given to him by the Blackbeard, but he was not focusing the hallway, and Malusi managed to get into sight because the attention of Thermite was directed towards the right side of the room instead of the left side of the room. And she actually got inside, waited for the audio call, and as soon as the audio call went off, she got the easy pick in the end of the round for them.
Let's touch a little bit on the Buena Vista's information. We don't need to touch on it now. They have lost the 2 drones, but we did see that drone situated in that hallway. That was information that was gathered, and despite having that information, still lost the gunfight engagement, facing off against Wolverine. You saw, the Blackbeard come through, not successful in that fight, and it's a little bit disappointing. You have all of that information going in your favor. You had all of that lead as well going in your favor, and you ultimately are not able to pull the round out and not able to win. And I think that's a big miscommunication problem that Buena Vista may be facing. I think they need to look back, and Avon need to look back on this playstyle and what they've done, and kind of think about what they can change and what they can, bring forward continuing onwards here in NECC and further beyond, whatever they decide to do, about how their playstyle affects each other and what they can do to, get that coercion and communication to a higher level. Oh, shot almost connecting right there, Amtro. You can see he's shot through, but they are on the other side of that hard wall. Underneath now of that window on that Raptor section of the garage, and there is going to be the one thermite charge being cleared out. We hear it, and we know it's on that outside balcony ledge for that northwest side of that spawn.
Yeah, you touched on intel in that little spiel there, and I wanted to mention that they did bring in Iana. And Iana, that infinite amount of intel, that, I mean, like, obviously it does have that recharge, and there's a specific amount of intel you can use per round because of that. But the fact that she did bring that and she has those drones to her disposal is, honestly, I really like that idea. Her gun, her ARX is amazing. She does bring nades to the table, and then there's that intel that she gives off as well. I don't think they've been made aware of that Ella that's sitting on stairs. If she plays this correctly with that shotgun, that could be a bloodbath in logistic in the next few seconds as it starts to wind down. No one has been made aware of it, not even the Iana, the person that was supposed to get the intel. It doesn't even matter because it happens to be the thermite in the process. And Zofia is not the person to actually trade it off, and she goes downstairs in the process. Very smart, because they're all been made aware of her situation. That pressure has been applied. She needs to rotate off and work on the other side and go get to red stairs as soon as she can.
Yeah, like we stated about, if you're going to play that roam game, it's not just run and gun, get the kills and die. You step away, play smart, get that situation under yourself. You know, Poe goes out, tries to use that Nomad utility, is not successful as he gets ADS out, and now Archangel is downed but not out on that outside central subroof. You don't have to worry about how they're going to finish it off. Will the CMU side get greedy? Will they get and go for this? But how aggressive are they going to be? Nomad utility is there, but it's extremely visible. Almost no chance the defensive side's not going to see that and shoot it out before they make that run out. We do see the body fall, and this is not in a death direction. This is falling right off the ledge to give them the opportunity to go for the revive. Taking a look, as we did see it switch over there, we saw Silver Fox on one of the main stairwells down below, holding out on that basement stairwell, trying to find out when they can catch the opposition off guard. Mel finds Pepperoni, however, they nice nade explosive, showing their ugly head as King finds Poe as well. A 4 versus 3, and now a 3 versus 3. Mel finds one, and another one goes. That's Amtro finding a second in success, but Archangel's nowhere nearby with the diffuser and goes down. King Crimson finding that. They may be the round decider. Mel finds the triple, but it's not going to matter. They have to go running and gunning to find the kill, but no, they aren't aggressive enough, and defenders win that one in a situation where, again, as I've had to say this multiple times, they shouldn't have. A phenomenal play, however, from Silver Fox inside of Garage Rafters saves the day and saves the round.
Yeah, I was just talking up Iana, and she had her disposal, used every single thing I brought up, and it was beautifully played up until the end, obviously, because they had to grab diffuser, but they sadly did not have enough time to do it. When it came to the Ella shotgun, I thought she was going to push in and completely throw the round. I don't know if you heard me when I said that. I was like, oh no, please, please don't. But she did decide to fall back and just hold the angle close, which still was pretty dangerous, but either way, it did come out in their favor in the end there. Well, I did want to say that the push, like you mentioned, by Silver Fox, or the hold rather, by Silver Fox was obviously very effective, and it's those little moves that defenders or attackers make that are game-changing and completely switch the tides of the round in the favor of themselves. And that little move that she made to kill the defender down at the bottom of Garage, that was the game changer that won them the round right there.
I mean, obviously, you take a look at the situation, everything was like the penultimate kind of wave. You saw the lack of aggression from Silver Fox at the end, kind of holding it out. Because Silver Fox didn't die at the beginning, because Silver Fox didn't get greedy on the CMU side after that first kill, they were able to be the last one standing. King had that kill in Garage that was successful, and because of that kill, gave them the opportunity to deny the opposition of that diffuser implant and, getting in quick enough. But I worry now. Silver Fox has found the success, but a couple of players have not. Pepperoni, who was that standoffish player for CMU the game before, hasn't really had that opportunity in this one. And I want to touch a little bit about their defensive hold. We did see the Tachanka come through, which is allowed here in NECC, but now switched over to a Bandit. So double electrical placements from the defensive side. And how do you feel about that one?
I mean, it's not that big of a deal because there is a lot of wall to cover there, but the decision to put the Bandit, I mean, I guess they do have to deal with the hatches, but the Bandit batteries on those two walls are literally useless, so there's not really any point to really putting them there because you saw how fast Retro took down both those Bandit charges, so he needs to run back as soon as he can, and he doesn't want to take a gunfight in that tunnel. Keep that tunnel, that little small funnel that they need to run through, and then make them have the punishment for running through there after they get their intel, because that tunnel is pretty much just it's no man's land. You don't want to walk in there. That is a dead zone.
Yeah, that tunnel funnel made Pepperoni runnel, and he had to step away from the situation to disengage, and it definitely keeps away with his life. And while you do waste that utility of the thermite charge, and which is actually, I argue, pretty important here, as that is your only hard breach besides the hard breaching gadget, or sorry, utility in the pocket of Poe here, which I absolutely love the buff that came to that, and I actually also love the decision to bring a Ying out and play, one of my favorite operators. It is not going to be the one that finds success first. That's Mel finding the success, getting the kill onto Silver Fox. And a 4 versus 5. The last time we saw this kind of situation play out for the Buena Vista side, they ultimately weren't able to clutch it out and win it out because of the Central Methodist play and their total lack of aggression.
It seems like Retro is actually, there's no focus on, okay, never mind. The Jaeger is focusing it. Okay, I was going to say, because if they turn that focus off of that dirt entrance, then that funnel is no longer there. And once they get into sight, that is the round for the attacking side, because that control shifts in their favor immensely. So if this Jaeger peeks this incorrectly, or the timing is just in the favor of the attacking side, like it is right there, sadly, oh my gosh, Thermite does get taken down. And I believe that was not the diffuser. Thank God it was not the diffuser, because he was sitting alone in that tunnel. I think he was just waiting for that little rotate in the end there.
They ultimately do actually get the diffuser though, but Poe is able to find a little bit and stop the bleeding from their side, chunking all of those flashes in. Going off, Swolverine finds the double kill, and it's up to Poe. A Nitro Cell goes off, but does not connect. Pepperoni does still have one as well, but Pepperoni's swinging aggressively to go for it. Will a rip go off? We don't hear it just yet. And it's going to be a little bit of a restep situation for Poe. I want this Nitro Cell to go off in the Bandit's pockets. Pepperoni has this available, and when the aggression does come through, it could be the decider, but Pepperoni gets it done with the MP7 instead. I still think a misplay. I wanted to see the Nitro Cell, the rip, go off and get a kill, and that could have been another grenade kill, or explosive kill, I should say, because we did see the success of a grenade kill in the round before, and I want to continue to see explosives show their presence in this matchup.
Was the incorrect decision to make there, mainly because the fact that it would make him vulnerable for that little span of time of him peeking that, and that little pixel, that's all that Ying really needed in that situation to actually take down that bandit and move forward. Although yes, they did have the man advantage. If it wasn't in that situation, I would have not taken the Nitro Cell. I do want to say this is one of the things that I don't really like when it comes to people entering 1v3s, 1v4s, whatever situation it is. As long as that one person left on either side, a lot of people seem to panic a lot more, because you could tell in the aim, like they started to become a little bit more spastic in how they're aiming, how they're flicking. They just need to step back, breathe, and focus on and actually think about what the attacking or the defending side is going to be playing. Because in that situation, the bandit was playing fairly aggressive. If he held the angle properly and actually calmed down and stopped being so sporadic and like flicking everywhere, then he probably could have actually managed to hit a shot, because there were a lot of people left. So I can understand wanting to flick from a doorway to a rotate to be able to actually see if you can catch them off guard in the process of actually being in that gunfight with the bandit. But that's that thing, because you can't really give up that panic for the accuracy. It's like taking like power over accuracy or accuracy over power. Like that's the thing. You cannot do that, because you need to be focusing one at a time, unless they're all peeking you at one time. Then that's a different story.
I want to point out the fact that we are seeing the castle play again, which is a very normal defensive hold for, this gym and bedroom, master bedroom hold. But the attacking side has been switching it up in a direction that I'm not necessarily sure of. We still don't see the Sledge coming out. Sledge has the opportunity for the nades and the ability to clear out the castle and basically render castle mute, which basically just leaves castle with the ability of having the UMP, which is basically a disability. That gun is just terrible. It is a BB pellet shooter, and if you bring the Sledge, you basically make that castle mute, and I think it's a misplay in that regard, but we have brought a glass, and the smoke grenades do come out, but that's your only person using smoke grenades. And we have definitely seen a lack of, smoke grenade usage in Buena Vista side, and I worry that Archangel will inevitably die before that utility ever gets used, or gets used in a very fruitful manner. That southern suburb is going to be a big focus, however, if they can get out that wall like we had seen them previously do, that castle barricade to the gym side, and they enter that quickly, or should I say swiftly, it could be the deciding factor for Buena Vista to take a round for the first time and get diffuser actually planted.
Yeah, I was going to say that I wanted to see the glass pick and actually him go through this and actually get a couple picks off and actually turn the tides in the favor of the attacking side. But the fact that he's not running the PMM right now completely takes away all respect for him right now. So I don't really At this point, I wanted.
Pistol's what determines it for you, really?
Yes, the PMM is the best gun in the game. I don't want to hear it. There you go. Yep, good job, Pepperoni. Yep, I'm sorry for the commentator's curse from earlier. Okay, well, there's some claymores set down. There's a lot going on right now.
No smokes.
There's no smokes? Oh god, there are no smokes. Oh no.
I'm not using the smokes.
I don't know what gunfight he got into. I mean, the situation had to have been the decider for that, but currently the situation is very, very close. I thought that drone was a claymore at one point. Oh yeah, it is a claymore. Okay, I was gonna say. A lot of shots are going off right now. The Jaeger actually does manage, or sorry, correction, the Ash actually does manage to actually take that. The range on that Ella shotgun is absolutely disgusting. This is why people hate the Ella shotgun. It's that range and the damage that it does, especially at that range. There's no drop off.
Oh, we do see it. It is seemingly coming back now. And the Central Methodist side, you know, Buena Vista had gotten a couple frags early on, and now it is just, you know, it's just Retro. He's gonna have to try and fight this off. There's the FO going in the favor, and luckily for Swolverine, he cleaned up. I think it was maybe his second or third kill in that round. A great showing for him, right? And
I don't know.
My God. We talk about the glass pick. I called it. Caster's Curse was not true in this situation. I was correct. Archangel inevitably dying before the actual smoke utility makes its presence known. It actually shows up, and he does. The fight with Pepperoni, the man who suffered from Caster's Curse, is indirectly, you know, making Caster's Curse true. I stated it was going to happen, and it does. And that's just not what you want to see from Buena Vista. I said they didn't use that smoke utility enough on map 1, and they didn't even get the opportunity to use it here on map 2 in round 6.
You should have seen my facial expressions during that whole entire situation. It went from confused, scared, to just straight laughter because he started planting in a very open area with 30 seconds remaining. He had a little bit more time. He only had 2 people to take care of, so he had that time before he started making any decision to plant. So that's where I was a little confused. And then he stops planting, and I just see all the gunshots come down from primarily the Ella shotgun.
just the buckshot tracers coming in every direction.
You could see them flying past his face, the hit indicators coming from that direction. It was honestly just, it was so funny to watch. And then obviously the laughter followed. What's up?
It's like a Matrix situation, right?
Yeah, exactly. He had to run out, and then the Malusi finished him off in
the
situation.
Right now.
He took the red pill, and it was wrong. Just in place. Oh god, yeah,
retro,
that was,
you know, fitting to the retro style movie reference, right? Very old school, right? You know, following through. He's the retro mate, the Neo, right? The one, as they say.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm actually kind of curious because I just noticed that. What is that number directly below Mozzie's stats? Like directly below his like little his main gadget. Am I the only one saying that? The 96 plus the
96? I actually have no clue either. I'll be totally and brutally honest with you. I don't know what the heck that is.
I think I actually don't know because like I was gonna say maybe that's the HP, but then I looked at the other operators and that's not there.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't mean. I have no clue. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we do see Mel does get one drone, but it gets immediately removed, and I think that's a misplay on Central Methodist side. They gave up a drone. Ultimately, they do remove it as well, so it doesn't really give it to the opposition, but. That's that utility that you could have gotten rid of fairly easily if you had just face-checked that side, because you didn't end up droning it anyways. You ended up face-checking it just 5 seconds later when you had to shoot the drone. Just face-check it initially, or check to see if the drone is if the pest is there by bringing the drone close, and then take the step back to shoot it out later. You know, we got to keep that drone, economy alive. And while you may be winning in a 6-0 fashion, it's no excuse to get complacent.
Yeah, the amount of pressure that the Mozzie applied, they obviously are pretty much quite aware that he is no longer there. I was going to say that since you noticed that I believe it was, who had the nades? It was the Finka. Finka was sitting at the bottom of garage and waiting for Jackal to push up himself because he last round, Pepperoni was actually doing pretty well with the fragging ability. But beforehand, they took a lot of time to just try to push up that staircase, mainly off of Mozzie, getting into a little bit of engagement, taking care of that intel, and then he ran back, and having that pressure there wastes so much time, and that it strikes fear into the attacking side's play, and it really just stalls everything and just throws a wrench in the entire machine, I guess you can say. I don't really know how to really end that.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, take a look at Mel now. You see Amtro does fall, and Mel is down, but not out. And like you had said earlier, the PMM in the hand of the glass. I'm going to take the other direction. Oh, no! I think Poe picked up Mel, and unfortunately, King Crimson finds 2 back-to-back. You can definitely tell they've had some practice, and Swolverine is definitely coming in with the Finka choice we joked on earlier. Now Silver Fox finds the last. Wow. A flawless round to end off in a great series. The first one in close matchup. This one, not so much. And you can definitely tell there's been some practice. They've had that experience. And you know, maybe they're hanging out at some of Helix Esports' world-class gaming and virtual reality experience at, you know, state-of-the-art esports centers throughout the United States. They deliver that professional esports experience to everyone there, and, you know, you can practice in those environments. I know you have a couple things to say about, you know, practicing in state-of-the-art areas.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, practice and that professional level, exactly what we just saw from CMU. It's fitting for them to finish their final round with a flawless round at that. It was 5 people still alive, and then they ended it with a flawless victory. They did not lose a single round, and it was, like I said, fitting because they have been playing flawlessly. Their fragging ability, their everything has just been on point, and you can't really, you got to mention it because of how nice it's been.
Yeah, so let's decide, do we go for the player view? Obviously, CMU won that, so let's go ahead and bring in Pepperoni, right? We can bring in Pepperoni out. I mean, dropping a 19
yeah.
bomb, plenty to talk about in game
I,
one.
I need my formal apology.
Yeah, not much success in game two, or map two, I should say. But you know, map one was enough carried, and map one was enough to warrant the interview. But so
19 kills that
God,
map.
he's a monster.
19
He
kills.
faced off against Mel and Poe, who dropped 14 and 15, so a combined, you know, 29 kills, right? Like, and he
Yeah.
faced that off, dropping, you know, 19 and carrying his team to victory. He does have support from his side. He'd had 2 other people dropping double digits, but it wasn't a 19 double digit, right? Like,
Oh yeah, like the fact that I brought up, oh, they're having their little feud there. They're having their little 1v1 of who can get the most kills right now. And then commentators curse, oh yeah, that's cute. That's cute over there. Your little 15 kills. Let me just spike up 4 more than what that is right there. And you just
that
gotta love to
last
see it
round
from
was great.
Pepperoni.
All right, so I think we are about ready to bring him into the situation there, City. All right, we'll keep it going for a little bit. So I want to
Okay.
talk a little bit and touch on the differences between Consulate and Clubhouse, right? Because like Consulate, Windows Simulator, and you typically will try to play like 3rd floor down in some situations, or at least, or sorry, 2nd floor down, and at least 1st floor down to basement when you're all touching up on that basement objective, which is a polar opposite of Cafe, which you know, if it is on the lowest floor, you start on lowest floor. If it's any of the other floors, you start on the top floor. But Clubhouse completely different. You do see an eastern suburb or maybe southern suburb kind of direction where you come into the 2nd floor, but most of the time it is a 2nd floor from different directions. It's variety. It's not the same exact push every time. And obviously, we didn't see the same exact push every time on Clubhouse. I mean, we saw them play on that hot tub, on that jacuzzi side. We saw them play that eastern suburb. We saw them enter from garage. There's a lot of variety from the CMU attack and a lot of variety about how they held out on the defense.
There's a lot of variety, and I can definitely say that, like I mentioned before, the reinforcements are definitely like you stare at reinforcements on that map way more than you do on Consulate. The only place that you really stare at a reinforcement for a long period of time is Garage when it comes to Consulate. That's the only one that I can really think of right now that would be that you really need to focus on, because like when you reinforce somewhere like in the middle of the entire building when it comes to Consulate, you can't really have a hard breacher and just worry about that. That's why Ace is so viable, because he can just throw it and get right back to gunning. But there's a reason why those reinforcements are never touched, is because they're in the middle of gunfights. They're in the middle of rooms that are not entirely cleared, so you don't really see them mess with this much. When it comes to Consulate downstairs, you are outside. You don't have to worry as much about getting killed because it is on the outside. And then with the run out timer being lower, you don't have to worry about it as much either. And another reason why they had to bring the Nomad as well. So with Consulate, the wall in the garage is like I said, the only wall you have to worry about. And then there is Clubhouse, where pretty much every single part of that map had to do with a reinforcement. You had to worry about dirt. You had to worry about church wall when it came to CC. You had to worry about CC wall, construction wall. You had to worry about garage wall. But they didn't really bring any Capitao. I didn't see any Capitao bolts trying to reach the CC wall, nor I don't think I saw any sort of bandit tricking either. So I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown of the 2 maps.
And, you know, always useful insight. So we do have Pepperoni here. Is, you know, first thing I want to comment about here. First off, great game, phenomenal showing from you. Second map, maybe not so much a phenomenal showing, but I definitely did see you having a good utility usage, a great, you know, team player, and your team ultimately came out victorious. And I want to point out that your Discord status says bottom fragging. And I'm going to call you out on that, because that is the complete opposite of what you did on map 1 for Consulate. You dropped 19 kills, and the second 2 highest players were Mel and Poe, who dropped 14 and 15 respectively. What happened on Consulate to just have you go that far off? And excuse it, like me to, you know, maybe throw your team under the bus. You guys played great, but you carried your team through that victory with your fragging potential.
I just played off my teammates. They gave me opportunities to take the frags, and I just took them.
All right. If you don't mind me jumping in real quick and ask my own little question right now, I'm very, very curious. There's a situation on Consulate. Bottom yellow stairs outside the doorway. I believe you're having communication issues or something, but you're looking back at your teammate and looking back at the door, like animating your character to have a conversation or just direct it. What was going on in the comms in that situation?
I think that was whenever I think it was Ace, and I was trying to yell at him. It was either to drone me in, or it was because I just got the wall, and I was yelling at him to go get the wall, the garage wall. I think there's 2 instances where I get the bandits on the wall, and then Ace is just sitting there.
Oh, that's absolutely hilarious. You got me laughing during it because of that little animated situation.
I wish I had seen. I'm gonna go back and watch it.
Yeah. And then there's also something before we lead on to any more questions. I want to formally apologize because I've had a lot of caster curse where I would mention your name, and every single time I mentioned your name, you would die. I'm not even joking. Almost 90% of the time, you would be dying every single time I said your name in like the next 5 seconds. So I want to apologize for speaking of your name in general.
Come on, man. All you gotta do.
I mean, you dropped 19 anyway. So.
Yeah, despite this caster's curse, you still dropped a 19 ball.
Still dropped 19.
Hey.
Like, shut up!
I pulled out the old main, and I just went to town.
I mean, you obviously did. You had a phenomenal showing, and I want to point out, like, map 2 wasn't necessarily your map. I've already commented on that, but your team ending it off with a flawless victory and a flawless round in the final thing. What was the huge difference between playing against them on Consulate versus Clubhouse? Because the score obviously showed a drastic difference.
I feel like as a team we play 10 times better on Clubhouse as we do on Consulate. So we went back into like our home territory with Clubhouse, and that allowed us to get the dub. It also helped that we played defense first, giving us the 6-0 and having that lead going into the attacking round. And basically that Clubhouse, I just play the support, bandit, get dirt, whatever else I played. I don't remember what I played, to be honest.
It flew by so quickly for you, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it flew by very quickly.
Yeah. I like to see that your teammate, because we did mention that, at least Inferno mentioned that he did, or you carried your team when it came to Consulate. But then they really just returned the favor, and they showed you that, hey, we're here to play too. And they really said, okay, we can play your role too. And that's exactly what they did. And they all played as a team collectively and carried out your role for you. How, like what's your thoughts on that? Like, what really changed up there? Like, is it mainly just because you, like you mentioned, you changed up the support role, or what happened there?
I feel like after the Consulate game, I started to like pull back because that was mentally exhausting. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. And I feel like my team came up and picked up my slack, basically.
Well, that's great to see, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
you guys ended up with a flawless victory, and you ended out the entire game with a flawless round. So that was absolutely beautifully played. So I have to give you props on that one.
So I think that's, mostly all the questions we have. I want to give you a little bit of time here, Pepperoni, to, shout out anyone that's been behind you, like, your coaches, your players. So who do you want to, give yourself the opportunity now to, thank people that were behind you?
I really have to support my Wolverine, man, he a legend, support of the year. Connor picking up those Silver Fox, sorry. I have to thank my parents because they brought me in this world.
Oh yeah.
And let me play games till Dark 30. And I think that's it.
You gotta bring out those people, thank them out. I'm sure they're very, thankful for having you, be appreciative of them as well. And I'm appreciative of having you here, coming in for this interview to let us ask you a couple questions. So thank you once again for coming through, and congratulations on your victory against Buena Vista.
It's good to talk to you guys. It was nice having this interview. I bid you adieu.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
So continuing onward here, this has been, NECC. My name is Infernosis, and, this here is Kaaroh. But before we go, I wanted to talk a little bit about, being able to watch it here on Twitch. It's such a great place to go. We have another game coming up pretty soon, but there's multiple places to watch esports, and I'll tell you what, there's a great one. It's called ESTV, which is the first ever dedicated channel for esports and gaming personalities. It's the first channel devoted to 24/7 esports coverage. It can be found on a number of OTT platforms, including the Roku channel, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung TV Plus, Sling TV, and Vizio Free Watch.
Yeah, it's absolutely like I used to watch when it came to esports in general. I didn't know that they actually broadcast on TV until like a few years ago, because I managed one of my friends actually texted me once and said, "Hey, come go onto this channel if you have paid for it. If you have this channel, go to this channel and watch the CS:GO match with me." And I could just sit down on my couch and almost fall asleep while watching CS:GO just on my TV.
I think I know the exact one you're talking, because every single time I bring out this sponsor, I always talk about it. Way back when I was in high school, just like 5-6 years ago, the TBS aired Worlds for CS:GO. It aired
I think that
on
might
a
have been it.
mainstream TV channel. You can go to TBS and you were able to watch that, and it was a huge $1 million prize pool, $1 million+ prize pool, and it was like the first time esports had gotten this mainstream kind of television channel thing. And I absolutely love to see more of that going on, because ESTV is a provider of doing that. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to www.estv.com to learn. .co to learn more onwards from there. But thank you very much, ESTV, for the sponsorship, and this has been a very fun time being able to cast here on NECC once again, and we have another matchup coming up pretty shortly. If my production here can tell me what is the matchup that is coming up in an hour. I think it's. We'll wait for production to get back to me on that. We'll wait for the production to get back on that. But, Car, if there's one thing you can see, like a moral of this matchup between Buena Vista, that Buena Vista can kind of look at, or even Central Methodist can kind of look at and go, this is what we need to change.
Well, I can say that in the beginning it was very, very and how they went to overtime. They went straight into overtime, carried out the entire time, going like 1 for 1, 1 for 1, 1 for 1. There's probably a situation in there where they went to 2 runs in a row, but I did not really catch that. But they did go in the end all the way to overtime 6. And then sadly it shifted in the other direction as my camera seems to freeze in the situation. Okay, we are back. It completely just shifted in the direction as you see on Pepperoni's team. And it was a flawless round. So I didn't in the long run, it flew by so quickly. I can't really say anything that, or could really think anything that they could fix. Mainly just the awareness and prediction of their play style, which is the bottom ground for any sort of game that you lose. You just got to understand that you did not break down their play as you should have. You did not understand how they were pushing things, the intel, call outs, all that, gunfights at that. Everything just needs to be fixed. That is just the bottom line in any sort of situation.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing that I can say towards the side of Buena Vista, is like when you're getting those rounds taken against you, back-to-back kind of rounds where the opposition is finding success, like we did see early on in map 1, and they did a very phenomenal job of surmounting that comeback situation to come through and bring it up into an overtime situation. They need to be able to handle that better. They did a good job in map 1, but map 2 they didn't. And a 6-0 kind of route for that first half it's rough going into that. But I mean, if they can do it, you can do it too. It's something that defense is fairly situated pretty dangerously on that map. It's a pretty defensive sided map. But it's really just going to be whether or not you can have that confidence to make that return value and situate yourselves in a comfortable position. So, if I'm Buena Vista, definitely work on confidence, work on a little bit of communication, take that situation on the chin for about who is going to face off against who, how you're going to face off and progressing onwards. And, it's a loss. You'll take the loss under you and you'll progress onwards as a team. And it's definitely what you're going to want to have to do, moving forward into the next matches. So my name has been Infernosis. I'm joined here by Kaaroh, and we will, cast you guys maybe sometime soon, and you'll be waiting about, I don't know, a short little while before the next matchup, but make sure to stay tuned and check that one out just as well.